Hello everyone and welcome to GPVWC Super League in 2024. This is only the second round of a brand new championship, and if the first round was anything to go by, then Jeddah could be the scene of something quite special. There you see it, the Jeddah Corniche circuit, or the melted bread knife if you ask me. We're going to be doing 50 laps of this place today, and I'm going to be joined by my regular commentator, Ryan Elliott. Now Ryan, you missed the first round, so let's tell everyone, how have you been?
Been very well. Yeah, I was on a work trip for round one, so I was on a plane when this was happening, but managed to catch some of the race, so I'm fairly aware of the proceedings, of how it went, and I'm hoping we see similar sort of action tonight. It's going to be interesting, that's for sure. It's only the second time that GPVWC Super League has actually had a Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, so last time's winner not here today, so yeah, I'm excited. It's GPVWC Super League, it's another season, always excited.
Absolutely, and we are going to get a new winner today because, as you mentioned, last year it was a Grand Slam for Jake Dennehan, pole win and fastest lap. The runner-up in that race was Tom Stevens, second place, so he will be the most successful driver here who is actually in the race. But of course, that does mean that we're going to get a new winner no matter whatever happens as far as the Jeddah Corniche circuit is concerned. In terms of the championship, there have been a few small changes. Jarl Tyen is back, and if you remember that name, that will probably be from Monza last year. He only did one race in last year's championship, and he won it at the Automobili Internazionale Monza. And of course a race winner from the past as well. So he has returned today. He will be racing for Epic Racing, replacing Fabio Sixta, who is having issues of some sort. We don't know the details. And Alessandro Maggio filled in that seat in the first round. At Adonis, Yanis Brachok is making his first start of the season. Menno Klont drove that car in the first round of the championship. I've also been told, and I have to thank Defan Rutring for letting me know this, that Pascal Pollens had exams this week, so he wasn't able to practice, and as a result he has given his seat to Alex Lahou. I'm just going to double check that, and yes, Lahou is in the server, so that's a change. And the final change that I've got to bring up is one that actually hasn't happened yet. And I'm not sure if you know this, Ryan, but I was told earlier by David Fidok that he will not be able to race in the rest of this year's championship, unfortunately. This is because his wife has been promoted at work, so we have to say congratulations to Mrs. Fidok, if she goes by that. And David, as a result, will have to hand that car over to someone else for the rest of the season. He says he might consider racing in Super Lights, but unfortunately, because his wife has been promoted at work, he has to take over the family duties, like looking after the kids while she's out. So that will be a change that will come from the next round on. David Fidok is racing today, and just like Silverstone a couple of seasons ago, we have to treat this as a little bit of a send-off for the Nocturne driver.
Yeah, that's definitely news to me. I believe David's wife is called Sarah, so I'm going to say congratulations, Sarah, on your promotion. But it's definitely going to be a loss to the grid, losing the former champion. But you know, it's just a simulator at the end of the day. Real life comes first, and you know, family takes over.
Yep, absolutely. Loved ones always come first. None of these drivers are fully professional doing this. A lot of them treat it very competitively, and will treat it like another job basically, but they will usually have a job on the side, or school or something like that. Anyway, what you're seeing on your screen right now is a 15-minute qualifying session, which will determine the order that the cars will start in at the start of the race. We have about 11 minutes of the session to go, plus however long it takes them to get back around to the checkered flag, because you are allowed to finish the lap that you're on when the timer goes to 0. And as you can see so far, it is THR 1-2. Now that was also the case in practice, so THR are looking very, very strong today. Adam Maguire had a terrible race at Australia last time out, just could not find the pace and ended up out of the points. But Adam is very strong as a driver, and was top of the practice time, so very much do expect him to be back in contention today. And another thing that I noticed quickly is that Owen McGorgy is yet to set a flying lap, so we got to look out for our TOP Esports Championship leader, Owen McGorgy, and wait to see what he has to do as well, Ryan.
Yeah, and there's also another change on our screen right now as well. The TR Geeks team have rebranded to AKA Hero.
Oh, that didn't last long.
New livery for them as well, which is absolutely stunning. Shout out Stefan McCready on that one. Yeah, so Dylan Fisher and Hargo Boom in a different livery, different team name this week. Only hit round 2, but that's just because of a sponsor rebrand for them, so we got to follow it.
Fascinating. Well, congratulations to them if they have earned a new sponsor. But yes, I have to admit that was one that was not on my radar until literally a few seconds ago either. But anyway, into the pits comes Germano Zapala, so he will not be setting a flying lap this time around. Now Ryan, one of the main talking points for this round is that it is the first round of the season where where not all of the cars are absolutely identical. Of course, at the first round of the championship, we hadn't yet had R&D as a factor, but the teams have gone away. They've put points into certain aspects of the car. They can spec into body drag, front wing, rear wing, diffuser, chassis upgrades, pit crew tire changing upgrades. That's one thing that everyone has gone for, actually. How will the teams have decided this kind of thing, and who do you think has gone the right way? Slightly biased question to ask.
It's a difficult one to ask a team owner. The first thing I'm going to point out is the engine. So Vulcan, so that's myself, Quasar and Revington have all gone for engine mapping, and then on their own, Viper gone engine math. So a bit of a different bold strategy from the Viper engine supplier, which is in the back of a lot of the cars in the grid this year. But it's a lot of hours of testing, not just from yourself, but your customers as well. Often give some good feedback, as Owen McGorgy goes P2 with the purple last sector. But yeah, everybody going for the tyre upgrade, because that's just essentially free time. You wouldn't want to waste that on pit crew repair because you intend on not crashing in the race, and usually if you have crashed, you're out of points anyway. But a lot of teams doing body drag, diffuser, chassis. Only teams that haven't done that is the THR group, so THR Nocturne, and then as well as that GSR and Geeks, or now something Hero, which aka Hero, sorry. A few teams have gone rear wing. I think my team have picked the right path. Obviously I back my drivers and the testing that they've done, but this is the whole point in having a development strategy, is that you choose what you want for certain rounds and you anticipate what tracks are coming up ahead, and that sort of dictates the upgrades that you do as well. So everyone's got their own strategy. Some people went for a 3-week upgrade period, some went for like a 3.5-4 week upgrade period. There's advantages and disadvantages to that, so a lot of teams went for the 4-week and have a stronger on paper car here, but will have less upgrades total. So potentially at the next round we might see some cars not having an upgrade package and then some will. So yeah, all very interesting, and my favourite part of being part of this community is definitely the R&D. It's something different in sim racing.
Absolutely. Ryan's team, of course, being powered by RSR with the Vulcan engine. Vulcan with 1 point more spec'd into mapping than Quasar and Revington. So look out for Vulcan if mapping is the way to go. And of course, powered by RSR themselves. Today fielding Tomasz Wok and the returning Daniel Stepkowski, which is a driver change that I forgot to mention just now. Daniel Stepkowski is back. He missed the first round because his sim rig decided not to rig sims anymore, and he was replaced by the rookie Pavel Andrzejewski, who unfortunately crashed out of the race. But Daniel is back. Ryan, how is he feeling about being back, and how is he planning to go about today?
I think both my guys are prepared that we don't have the best car on paper, but You know, we saw many drivers last week that qualified a little bit further down and with good strategy and keeping the nose clean managed to get right up to the top positions. And I mean, I say that Thomas at the moment is P6, but they're both still feeling quite good. They just know they're just going to be lacking a tiny little bit in the car this week. But it was a bit disappointing for me when Daniel's wheel died. That's the first time in this team's history in Super League that we've had to actually use our test driver.
Yeah.
Which was something that I was really proud of, and you know, I'm so proud that my guys have made every race that they physically can. But yeah, I love that stat. I was boasting that stat to you like 2 weeks before, and then the first race of the year, we end up having to call our test driver into action, and it was very last minute as well. So poor pals didn't get a lot of chance to practice, but yeah, he still enjoyed his Super League debut.
Yeah, you guys had 3 years on the bounce with just 2 drivers. That is very, very impressive indeed.
And the same 2 drivers as well.
Yeah, same 2 drivers. Anyway, so we're into the final 5 minutes of qualifying. This is when it starts to get really, really intense. You'd have seen a car kind of teleporting from the box into the garage just now. That's absolutely fine. If you can make it back to the pit lane before you escape to your box, then you are absolutely fine to go out again. It's only if you park your car up on track, if you have an accident, for example, that you would be forced to remain in the pits for the rest of the qualifying session. I've noticed a few drivers taking quite a lot of curb on these flying laps. Definitely crossing the white line on the inside. Now, the stewards don't watch these laps back anymore like they used to back in the olden days. Nowadays, it's all to do with the game's inbuilt detection system. So I'm wondering if it's being slightly lenient in places. We'll see if the lap counts here from Carlos Martin. It does, and it's a fairly good lap too. He goes 7th in the TOP, Ryan.
I believe someone might have to correct me in the chat that they did say they were going to go manual for this round.
For this round only?
Yeah, because of the issues with track limits.
Right.
It's strange. It's, you know, I remember back in the day getting hounded almost every single race about the manual track limits. Imagine where I'd be if we had the track limits like these guys have had of recent years. But yeah, it's clearly an issue around here. I think it was for SL1 and 2 only. So people do need to be careful. Do need to be really careful. Actually a big flag there from Machete. The track limit system is still in place for the race, and the points are still there, but I think it's set ridiculously high. So no one will get penalties for it. But obviously you can protest somebody straight lining corners.
Okay, thank you very much for updating me on that. That's another thing that I hadn't actually heard just yet. Looking at the penalties from the last round, Hygo Poom and only George Zeligianis will have a 10-slot grid penalty for this race. Hygo Poom I mentioned briefly because he was given a 10-second time penalty for avoidable contact. Looking at the standings, I don't believe that has cost him any points necessarily, but Hygo... Yeah, so Hygo, of course, is racing for what was Geeks, and he was 9th in the last race. But of course, the 10-second grid penalty for George Zeligianis will only really come into play if he is not at the bottom of the grid, and so far he has the slowest time of anyone. Although it is worth noting that there are still 2 people who haven't set times yet. So here is Adam Maguire.
It's slightly corrected on the track limits. It's that some of the track limits are too strict.
Okay.
1 or 2 corners. So that's why the points limit is being raised.
Okay, thanks again for letting me know that. Here is Jan Granqvist. We constantly talk about how he is the unluckiest Super League driver, very much the Lando Norris of the field, where we know he has the ability and he keeps finishing on the podium, but can't quite get that elusive first victory. And of course he started off the season in the most Jan Granqvist way possible by finishing 2nd. So keep your eyes on Jan. See if he can do any better today. Of course, if ability is anything to go by, then yes, he absolutely can. And here he goes on to a lap of the Jeddah Corniche circuit. This track, always a controversial one when you see it on a calendar. It's very, very tight, but very fast as well. It's tight in that it's narrow, but the corners here, I mean, you can see how he's flicking the car. Oh, tapping the inside barrier as well. Of course, we saw some drivers getting caught out by that in the real world of Grand Prix racing this year as well. And the fact that it's both narrow and fast makes it probably one of the most dangerous circuits on the calendar. It's the track where if you're going to have an accident in qualifying, you're probably going to have it here. And, oh my goodness. Case in point, Alex Lahou, who is actually currently an impressive 5th place in this session. Ryan, we're nearing the end of the session now, and Maguire, despite cutting that corner there, is still on pole position.
Yeah, this is it now. Everybody's already got decent banker laps in, and they're making one really big last push to see if they can improve. Owen McGorgy green in sector 1, but still don't think it looks like he's going to have enough to topple Maguire. But talking about Granquist, he's, you know the saying, always the bridesmaid, never the bride. He's always there or thereabouts, and I think this season's got to be the one, surely.
Okay, so checkered flag is out now. Times are being set, the final times that the drivers will be able to set. Maguire and Stevens will go no quicker. Granquist's lap was good. It was 4th place. He had a fastest 3rd sector of anyone. Owen McGorgy here, championship leader after the first round of the season, comes out of the final turn and opens the DRS. It looks as if he was heading to the pits, but of course there'd be no point doing that. And he stays 3rd, but it is an improvement. So an and spins into the barriers. Well, that is the end of this qualifying session, providing, well, Hangraf has just completed a lap. Chris Shepherd and Tomasz Vok are the only 2 other drivers who I can see out there, and they are both in the pits as well. So Adam Maguire does take pole position here, making up massively for the disappointment of Australia, and it's a THR front row because Maguire is ahead of Tom Stevens, his THR teammate. Owen McGorgy will go off from 3rd, just behind them. Jan Granqvist, 2nd in the first race, will go off from 4th. Alex Lahou, great qualifying there from the replacement driver. Moritz Kropp, P6, that's an improvement as well from his first round performance where he was taken out on the first lap. Tomasz Vok, P7, not bad. Zolt Schukes, P8, very good compared to Zolt's previous qualifying performances. Matthias Moos is P9, Carlos Martin, P10 in the other TOP. And then we go to the second slate of qualifying results. Reuven Machedi, P11. Jarl Tyen on his return, P12. Then it's Robin Pansar, Dylan Fisher there. So Fisher much higher than his previous rounds qualifying. Matthew Williams, P15. Daniel Stepkowski, P16. Then Heigo Poom, David Fidok in his last race of the year, from what he tells us. Janos Bratschock returning for P19. Then Stein Handgraf, P20. And the final slate will take us down to 30th place. We've got Fabrizio Gobbi, Chris Shepherd, Giuseppe Ragusa, Jeffrey Fournier, Philip Pushke. Actually, Jeffrey Fournier, I was expecting him to be higher than that. A little bit of a shame. Philip Pushke, P25, Jukka-Pekka Lalu, P26, he'll be disappointed with that as well. István Singal, P27, then the Pescaras of George Zalagianis, who will actually start from the back, and Germano Zapala. And the only driver not to set a qualifying time there was Mark Schluter. Not sure whether he crashed or whatever was going on, but whatever the case, those are your 30 drivers in nearly the order that they will line up for the Grand Prix.
Yeah, 50 laps tonight. Certainly going to be an interesting one. Following round here will definitely be hard. A lot of high speed to medium speed corners, a lot of aero wash. So certainly going to be a tricky one to manage in a race, but not entirely sure what's the preferred strategy around here. Undercut's been strong for a while now, so I imagine a lot of guys will be going for that. But
Now, I said just now that this is a return for Janos Bratschock, but that is apparently not true. I just looked at Bratschock's stats. I must be confusing him with his FSR stats, but yes, Janos Braciuk has actually not started a race in GPVWC before. That's in Super League or anywhere for that matter. He has done tests as early as 2020, so he's been GPVWC adjacent for a while. But this is in fact his very first race in GPVWC Super League, so we wish him the best of luck.
Always nice to see a new face, especially when they've been around for a while and finally decided to dead plunge. Love seeing new drivers on the grid and talent coming through.
Indeed, and of course we had quite a few new entrants at the last race. I believe six entries, but yes, Janos Braciuk the only one for today. A couple of returning drivers, of course, people who weren't on the grid last time out. I don't think we've got anyone who's been off the grid for over a year, because all of the returnees today, well, Tyne did one race last year, of course, Braciuk is, and then of course Daniel Stepkowski's only missed one race in the last 4 seasons pretty much. What you're seeing on your screen right now is just a warm-up session. You can see the timer on the top left, 8 minutes. Those are the last 8 minutes that these drivers will get. Oh my goodness, Ruben Machete getting it all wrong there. I saw him tap the wall on the entrance to that section, so that's probably put him all out of whack. But yes, 8 minutes that the drivers can use to get their, well, get their brains in gear. They can't exactly alter their cars. They're all in parc fermé conditions, meaning of course that they race what they qualified. The only exception of course being tyres. The top 15 cars have to start on the set of tyres that they qualified on, or at least the compound of tyres that they qualified on, and everyone from 16th place and below has free choice of that. So that's the only thing that they can change. Technically they can fiddle with the brakes as well, such as brake bias and potentially engine moods and things like that. But realistically, this warm-up session here is just to give the drivers a feel of what the cars are going to be like at the start of the race on cold tyres and heavy fuel, Ryan.
Yeah, it's mainly just getting back in the swing of things with the high fuel. A lot of, well, 16th backwards will be getting used to the harder tyres, unless they've gone for the soft as well. And it just tries to get your head out of qualifying mode, because I know personally when I drive that there's two very, very different feelings. And quality, you're absolutely flat as you can be, but in the race you've got to manage tyre wear and sometimes your revs as well, getting used to opening the RS, making overtakes, just little bits and pieces that you don't think about when you're doing qualifying runs. Just trying to make sure you survive as well. Getting in dirty air, just loads of things. It's just nice. It's nice to sort of calm down after quite a hectic quali, especially at a track like this where there's such a high speed nature of it.
Indeed. Vincent Gutt, our cameraman and streamer today, has just sent me a lovely screenshot of the top speeds that drivers reached during qualifying. And he's right to say that this is important, because this is a very high-speed circuit, and the only real overtaking opportunity is in the slipstream down towards turn 1. So, as we see cars bouncing off the walls even in this session here, but yes, the highest top speed that I can see in qualifying was that of Zolt Schukes, who had, my goodness, he reached 331.1 kilometers per hour. For those of you more inclined to the Imperial system, that's almost 206 miles per hour. And on a circuit like this and in a car like this, that is extremely darn quick, especially with all the drag that the cars carry nowadays and all of that. So those are the... Sorry, so Zolt Schukes, of course, has clearly gone for quite a low drag setup. It wouldn't have been slipstream. You don't get slipstream in qualifying. It's single person qualifying at all times. It's also worth noting that while that does sound quick and these cars look quick, that's over 10 kilometers per hour faster than what Adam Maguire, our pole sitter, registered. So it might well be, my goodness, it's almost 5 miles per hour. It's over 5 miles per hour quicker than what Adam Maguire registered. So it might well be that THR who were both around the 320 km/h range. Might well be that they've gone for a slightly higher drag setup to get them into a good position for qualifying, and maybe they'll be slightly vulnerable with the slipstream. So setups can go both ways. A quick quali setup might not necessarily be the best setup to race on. And yeah, thank you very much for screenshotting that, Vince. You're absolutely right that that's something you should keep an eye on.
Yeah, good spot. I didn't even be looking at the top speeds, but there's certainly a really big gap. You know, even on the smaller side, 5 kph is really big. Really big. Especially when you're talking being at 320 odd kilometers an hour, every kilometer an hour helps. You've got DRS on top of that as well when you're going for an overtake. So really interesting in the way that Vince has sort of highlighted this. He's grouped people together. There's like people who are really high top speed, like closer to 330, then kind of seems to be people in the middle at like 325, and then it's down all the way to 320.
Yes.
Definitely. Obviously upgrades will play into that as well. Upgrades on the engine side and on the car side, if people can set up for low wings, high wings. There's so many things that play into it, it's hard to pin it down to just one.
And for those of you wondering, the drivers he's lit up in green for the really high top speeds are Jan Grankvist, Zolt Schukes, who has the fastest time or fastest top speed overall, Robin Panzer and Chris Shepherd. We can only see down to 22nd place. And the slowest 3 in the top 22 are, funnily enough, both of the THR cars, showing that they have probably gone for a higher downforce setup. And then Moritz Kropp in 6th position, a Nocturne car, which of course is the sister team to THR. So clearly a different philosophy emerging there. And yeah, that will definitely be one to look out for.
It's really hard to race against, isn't it? When you're trying top speed, but they've obviously thought about it. Let's see if it pays off.
I guess the thinking is, if you can shake them off in the corners, then they won't be able to get close enough to you to pass in the straights. So I guess there's only one way to find out who's got it right, and that's to wait for the actual race itself. Now, another thing to note is that this is quite a long track, both in terms of distance and in terms of time. And that of course means that the strategy windows are slightly narrower than they would be at other circuits. So it's not necessarily that you can choose to pit at any point in, you know, say 6 laps. It might come down to 3 or 4 laps here, where you can realistically choose to pit. So that keeps it quite... that keeps the drivers quite on their toes. They don't want to miss anything, because they will have very few chances to get it back. Ryan, do we know what kind of strategies we're expecting for today?
I do not, off the top of my head.
That's okay.
A little bit out of sync. I've only just returned from holiday, so I've not been too involved in the last couple of weeks with the team. So.
That's all right. Well, normally we get a good example of that from Super Lights, so SL2. Unfortunately, I did not watch the SL2 race this week. I was slightly busy with that. But here at Jeddah, we are expecting, as we see Adam Maguire churning up the middle sector. I would personally expect this to be a relatively high tyre wear circuit, just because of the fast corners, the banking at the bottom of the circuit, so the big banked hairpin, and things like that. I wouldn't be surprised if we did see 2 stops today. I think 2 stops are probably going to be the order of the day. I'm being called out in the YouTube chat for not watching Super Lights. Yamadok saying, shame on you, Caitlin. So I guess that shows me for not doing my homework, but there you go. He also says Reuven top 5 finish, that's what he's calling. Good shout, Reuven was 11th in quali, so who knows, he's clearly got pace, and Reuven, we know, is an absolutely incredible overtaker. I remember watching him in FS1 in Monaco a couple of years ago, going round the outside of someone else into to Saint-Devote. Still one of the best overtakes I've seen in GPWC at Monaco. Now, Vince Gutt says the winners of Super Lights went soft to medium and pitted lap 16 or 17. Midfield with higher wings could do 2 stops, going soft, medium, soft, or soft, hard, something. Thank you very much for that, Vince. Of course, the other thing we have to keep in mind is that Super Lights has slightly shorter races, I think 20% shorter than Super League races. So while they were able to do a one-stop strategy in Super Lights, I have to admit that that doesn't necessarily give us too much information about the slightly longer Super League race, and I would still hedge my bets on 2-stop strategies.
Yeah, but, you know, we've got 30 drivers out there who all have their own way of doing it. Some, especially, always keep an eye on David Feidock. He's usually doing the right sort of strategy, and quite often it's different to what everybody else has done as well.
Yeah, I hope he has a good race today. David deserves it, and I was saying it's going to feel really weird seeing a Super League champion racing in Super Lights if that's what he ends up doing. Kind of like if Sebastian Vettel had gone to Formula 2 after finishing his time in Formula 1. But I guess there is a difference here, which is that, of course, David just wants to race, and you know, it's not like he is retiring from Super League or anything. He is just unable to work here or to race here, and also fulfill his duties to his loved ones. So I very much hope that he gets a good result today. I think that he very much deserves it. Hello to everyone in the YouTube chat. Ken0 says, what sim is this? This is R Factor 2, the sim that we have been using here at GPWC since either, was it 2016 or 2017? I know it was R Factor 2 in 2017, because that's when I joined, and I know it hadn't long gone to R Factor 2. But I know that we've been using R Factor 2 ever since. But anyway, here we go on to the formation lap. And this will precede 50 laps of racing here at the Jeddah Corniche circuit. So let's take one last look at the starting order before we go live for 50 laps of one of the most difficult circuits that GPWC goes to. So THR will round out the front row of the grid. Adam Maguire takes pole ahead of Tom Stevens. Owen McGorgy is 3rd, he won the last race, look out for him. Jan Grankvist is 4th. Then it's Alex Lahou and Moritz Kropp, Tomasz Vok and Zolt Schukes. Zolt Schukes, of course, with the fastest car in a straight line, as we determined in qualifying. P9 is Matthias Moos, then it's Carlos Martin, Reuven Machedi, who Yamadox pitched for a top 5 finish. Jarl Tyen is P12, the winner of the last race that he drove. Robin Panther is P13, then it's Dylan Fisher, Matthew Williams and Daniel Stepkowski. Look out for Dylan Fisher there, aka Hero, brand new team on the grid, kind of. Hygo Poom there in the other aka Hero car, previously known as TR Geeks. David Feidock in his last race of the season, he tells us, will go from 18th. Then it's Janos Brachok in his first Super League start, and Stein Hangraf. I'm slightly behind, I know, because then it's Fabrizio Gobbi, Chris Shepard, Giuseppe Ragusa and Jeffrey Fournier, P24. Philip Pushke is P25, then it's Jokopeka Lalu, Istvan Xingal and Germano Zapala. And the final 2 cars on the grid will be Mark Schluter and then the penalised George Zalagianis. So there are the 30 drivers in the order that they will start. We're seeing that Daniel Stepkowski has decided to start on soft tyres, meaning that the top driver on mediums is expected to be Hygo Poom. That is if the graphics that I'm being shown are correct. I'd appreciate if we could get up a tyre graphic on screen if possible as well. Oh, that's helpful, isn't it? That's okay. I believe it is showing the right tyres. It was just so faded we couldn't see what it was saying. But yes, what I'm seeing on my screen is that Poom and Fidok are the top 2 cars on medium tyres. Then Bratchuk and Hangraf are soft, and then Gobby and Shepherd also on mediums, as well as everyone behind Giuseppe Ragusa. So that's what I'm seeing. But of course, the top 15 drivers will have to start on those soft tyres. Ryan, it's getting tense again. How excited are you for the start of another GPWC Super League race?
Always excited. Also nervous because, unlike you get to watch this race and have fun. I have to sit here and also watch what my team are doing and try not to cringe if anything goes wrong. And try to keep positive as well. Always positive. But yeah, gonna be great. Awesome track. Awesome set of drivers. Awesome car. Gonna be good, man. Always is.
Indeed, it's great to be neutral, but don't let that stop you from cheering on your favourite drivers in the YouTube chat. Who knows, they might watch it back afterwards and see your support. Here we go to the grid then. The last drivers about to line up into their grid positions. There's George Zalagianis going from the back. Pescara ADG with a lot to do there from 28th and 30th on the grid. THR, not quite so much to do, but I tell you what, holding off a pack of 28 hungry lions is going to be no easy feat. So we have to wait to watch the red light at the top of the screen. You can see the gantry where they will illuminate. And then when those 5 red lights go out, we will be underway for 50 laps of racing here at the Jeddah Corniche circuit in Saudi Arabia. And it's go! Off we go from the start. Adam Maguire will lead. Maguire leads towards turn 1, but watch Magorgi on the outside. Magorgi already up alongside Tom Stevens. These two are very old rivals. They've been challenging each other all the way through this series so far. Side by side still. Oh, and there's a spin. I believe that's Warburn. Warburn into the wall. And the THRs maintain the top 2. So still, it's Maguire, then Stevens, then Magorgi. I'm afraid I think it was more than just one car involved in this accident at the back, because with the tight confines of the circuit, I can't imagine many people avoided that one. So unfortunately, we've got damage all the way down the field. Maguire leads, then Stevens, Magorgi, Grangfist and Lahoo. Alex Lahoo has made up a place at the start of this one. He's running in 5th position. Actually, I think that is where he qualified, but still, very good start from Alex Lahoo. They fly through the sweepers, and Ryan, it's still advantage THR.
Yeah, we're only 1/50th of the way, or not even 1/50th of the way there yet, but still no DRS at this point as well. Got a little way to go before we get some DRS, but it'd be interesting to see who were the biggest losers out of that crash at the start.
Oh no, David Fidok out. Oh, well, immediately after I was saying I wanted him to have a good race, Fidok is out. I have to apologise actually. I don't think... I'm not sure... Sorry, so the cars involved in the accident I can see as Magorki there takes a look at Tom Stevens. Actually, let's watch this first, because here we go. Oh, Magorgi to the inside of Tom Stevens, side by side. Whoa, he's nearly outbraked himself. Nearly goes into Adam Maguire in the process. He's being hung out to dry. Watch to see if Jan Grankvist can get involved in this as well. And Stevens holds him off. He's taking another look, but Stevens holds him off. I should apologise. I'm not even sure Janis Fulburn isn't even in the race. So I've completely misjudged that. I think I'm stuck in 2023 mood. The Holland Racing Team car that got involved in the accident was Matthias Moos. So Moose unfortunately is out. Matthew Williams is out in the Zortax car. David Fidok is also out, and that is a massive shame for the driver who we don't believe is going to be racing in the rest of the Super League Championship. And I have to hope that he'll be feeling okay after this one, because I would be gutted. Jeffrey Fournier is in the pits. Robin Panzer also in the pits, so we have to assume they have damage. And Mark Schluter is showing up as a DNF. So we lost 4 cars, at least 4 cars, on the opening lap of the race. Absolute carnage at the back of the field. And unfortunately, that's the price that you have to pay sometimes starting a bit further back. If someone spins in the mid-pack, you've got nowhere to go, Ryan.
Yeah, already several cars out. Not a really good start for a lot of people, but it's going to be a long day ahead for those who've opted to stay in the race. But anything can happen. You know, there's still plenty of time, but need to really get his head down here, Magorgi. he'll get pounced on from Grand Prix.
Machete's dropping places. Machete is dropping right down the order. And I can't quite see what's happened to him, but he's spun. There he is. Ruben Machete spins on the exit of the final turn. Whether he got involved with someone else or not, we will have to wait and see. But, of course, the driver who started 11th, has lost plenty of time and plenty of space on the road after that one, I'm afraid to say. And we're about to see a replay of what's just taken place. So Machete here, he's just ahead of Dylan Fisher. And behind is that one of the TOP cars, Carlos Martin. And Fisher hits him. Fisher runs into the back of him. And that is not the fault of Ruben Machete. It was not his responsibility whatsoever. And unfortunately, he's had to wait for the whole field to go through, Ryan.
That's a really big shame. Obviously no malice in that one, but just a slight error of judgment there from Dylan Fisher. But you gotta feel for Machete, man. But he can rejoin the race, keep his head down, and try and get back into the points for the end of the race at least.
And Fisher's a good guy. He'll feel, I mean, I'm sure he'll know that was his mistake, because in a situation like that, it's always the fault of the driver behind. But yes, I think he will feel pretty bad about that one. Anyway, we complete the first 3 laps of the race now. DRS was actually available at the end of the last lap due to the new regulations. And Stevens will be using it to try to keep up with his teammate here. We'll have to wait and see if there are any team orders between the pair, but I'm not sure that there will be so early in the season. Further back, Zolt Schukes has been in and amongst it. He has just been passed by Carlos Martin, I think, because Martin was behind him last time I looked at that fight. And actually, Martin up ahead of Stepkowski. Stepkowski there up from 16th place, so not a bad start from him, up from 16th to 10th on the grid. And here's a replay of something. This will be the start of the race. Very good. So we're focused on the Ruben Machete car here, but what I really want to see is how Matthias Moos triggered that incident, whether it was his fault or whether he ended up being pitched across the track by someone else. Well, here is Matthias Moos, who I mistakenly called Jannis Wolburn because my brain is stuck a couple of years in the past. And he's getting tangled up already, like not even on the... Oh goodness, 3 wide, and gets properly caught out. And a huge impact there, my goodness, ends up on 2 wheels in the middle of the circuit. And no wonder there were other cars involved. It's pretty difficult to see exactly where everyone's gone. Now Ryan, I'm afraid to say that's the 2nd race in a row where we've had cars taken out on the first lap of the race. Is 30 cars too many, maybe?
I'm not going to say yes, because something like that can be quite easily avoided. All 3 cars not really giving each other any space there, to be honest. When 3 cars could have gone 3 wide there, they were kind of in a bit of a straight line, a little bit of a curve, but like there was space, but everyone's just fighting for the same bit of track.
Fidok initially gets through it, look. So Fidok's got through it. Someone else... someone rejoining clips him. And that was Matthew Williams. Oh, you can see Tyan, both of the Epic Racing Team cars had a spin on that first lap, I think. So, oh dear. Oh, and they came together, right? That was Tyan going through. Fournier losing out the Moose by losing his front wing, and it was a rejoin. It was an unsafe rejoin from Matthew Williams into the side of David Fidok. Well, I think there's
going to be a few reports coming out of that one.
Yes, I will of course leave that up to the discretion of the race steward. I'm just saying what I see here, but yes, I'm afraid that has resulted in 4 DNFs on just the first lap of the race.
Well, in the meanwhile, Stepkowski's made 1 position up now at P9. Not sure how that happened, but trying to look if there's been any other moves throughout the pack. Fisher's gone. No, Fisher's in the same place. Oh, and Jan Granquist as well, up into P3.
Yes, so Granquist
burnt out his tyres on them first couple of laps already.
I don't know about that. It might just have been a DRS overtake. And although I tell you what, McGorky is still dropping back from Granquist. He's under pressure from Alex LaHoo here. Look at this. 2 young racers who are the centre of GPVWC lad culture, from what we've seen in the Discord server over the past couple of years. I'm imagining that these two are going to be having quite a lot of fun racing each other, but Magorgi would hope to have been higher. Room Machete up the inside, goes through. That is on Philip Pushke, that's for P21 on his recovery drive after being unceremoniously dumped a couple of laps ago. I would like to say everything that I've said in terms of incidents that have taken place is very much just my opinion, and we do have race stewards who will look at these particular incidents and decide if anyone needs to be penalised, and if so, whose fault it actually was. But yes, that is of course up to the race stewards and not up to me. But in the meantime, Jan Grankvist is up into third position, and he's still within DRS range of the THRs at the front. After 6 laps, Maguire and Stevens have not quite been able to get away, but they're kind of on the cusp. There are sectors, or rather mini sectors on this circuit, where they're being shown just outside of a second behind each other. So the DRS train is at threat, and here is Dylan Fisher now trying to get himself into the top 10. He's on the outside of Zolt Schukes. Might play a little bit of DRS chicken here. We'll have to wait and see. Well, there's the DRS detection zone. It's on the exit of the corner, and he'll have got that. So as they go through the DRS zone, opens the flap wide, and that will help him down the straight. So well played for Dylan Fisher. Looks as if Schukes had DRS from the car in front of him though, so didn't really end up mattering that much, and the overtake has worked anyway.
Yeah, nice move from Dylan. Obviously trying now to get his head down after the mistake earlier. All he can do is just drive the best he can. But yeah, we've got yellow in sector 1. Somebody's had an incident of some sort.
Pekka Lalu.
Lalu.
Well,
Yeah.
we've been told that it is, so we'll have to wait and see if anything has taken place. And we're about to see a replay right on time, and this replay comes courtesy of Vincent Gutt. Here we go into turn 1. They're just going to get tangled up with Jarl Tyen. Yep, there we go.
Yep.
And ends up stuck facing the wrong way. Ooh, well, I tell you what, good for him not just reversing across the track. I saw an incident in the F1 Academy a couple of weeks ago where a driver began to accelerate from a position like that as there was a car coming through, and it ended up in contact. So you can definitely do better, and Lalu there knew to wait for a gap, but unfortunately he'll have lost plenty of time as well.
Yeah, it hasn't been a great night for Lalu all round, but his teammate Jan Grankvist, who we're on board with now, still P3, looking away. It's a long race. You can just afford to sit there in the slipstream, let these guys see what their strategy is going to look like, and go from there. Or he could jump first. You never know. The undercut is strong.
I wonder what's going on with THR here, because a couple of times it's looked as if Stevens has been easily close enough to overtake Adam Maguire, but he's hanging back, and you wonder whether his mind is in defense mode here, whether he's trying to fend off Jan Grankvist to protect his teammate. But I would personally say that Stevens is potentially quicker at this point in time. So would it maybe be more beneficial for them to swap around and for Stevens to get away as Maguire defends? Of course, all of that is up to their team boss, who would be Chris Butcher. But of course, drivers never really like being given instructions like that, do they? I'm sure they would much rather race amongst themselves.
Yeah, personally, as a driver, in a scenario like this where I'm 1-2 with my teammate, or it could be any position, but I like to leave it between the drivers to decide that. You want to, if you're going to do the overtake, you want to be clear to the point where you can get it done before the braking zone.
Yeah.
Because if you end up, you always run a risk of Grankvist being able to potentially chuck even just the slightest bit of a wheel down the inside and unsettle the person who's being overtaken, and yeah, that's the last thing you want is Grankvist to get an easy opening. But
Yeah.
also you don't want to hold each other too far back to the point where Grankvist is close enough to make a move before you even got to the corner. It's such a hard one to determine. an engineer can't make that call. It's all about what the drivers are feeling.
That's the trouble with overtaking, of course. You run the risk of costing you both time. Meanwhile, Ruben Machete is up to 19th place, so he has passed Chris Shepherd since we last saw him. I will be keeping an eye on his progress through the field as well as Jarl Tyen, who was caught up in the incidents at the start. We saw him very nearly getting caught up with his teammate as he came through, but luckily just about avoided any serious damage. Jan Grankvist running in third. We didn't see how he passed Owen McGorgy, but or at least I expected it was a rather straightforward slipstream DRS pass, and now he's setting after the THR cars ahead of him. Very wide in the background was Owen McGorgy there. But still a long way to go in this race. Strategy will come into play later on. Talking of that, looks like Istvan Singal's in the pits. I can't imagine that's a strategic call this early on. Might have had contact somewhere.
DNF.
And he's out, yep, so I think my contact theory holds water in that one. 25 cars remaining, with 5 cars down and only 10 laps in. I have to admit, this hasn't been the greatest of starts, but hopefully it they clean up their act now that they're all single file like this.
Yeah, there certainly are single file. Not a lot of overtaking moves going on at the moment, but this is what happens when you've got really big, well, you've got cars with the most aero of any race car, and a massive high speed, medium speed track. So it's always fast and flowy and not too many overtaking opportunities, but the pit strategy here is going to be extremely important, more than a lot of tracks, with the lack of overtaking opportunities on track.
Indeed. Well, that's okay. It's, it's setting us up for a nice strategic race. But what we're seeing here is very much an example of the DRS train, where Tom Stevens is theoretically not quite as fast as Jan Grankvist here. In fact, Grankvist is the fastest car on track and has the best lap time so far to back that up. But of course, he can't quite get past Stevens because Stevens is getting DRS from Maguire up ahead of him. And Maguire is too far ahead to challenge himself. So for Jan Grankvist, he just kind of has to sit behind and hope that Stevens makes a mistake. Now that one won't help him quite as much as it might have looked, because yes, Stevens was a little wonky in the middle of that corner, but he was able to get the power down earlier than Grankvist was on that straight. Now Stevens there was showing himself to the mirrors of Adam Maguire's car. That shows me that maybe they're not actually in communication with each other right now, at least not in vocal communication. And Stevens is saying via the body language of his car, look at this, I can go quicker, I can go through, you've just got to let me. So do you make of that the same thing, Ryan, or am I reading that completely the wrong way?
I think I'd be surprised if they weren't talking to each other, but he might have just been doing it to throw Grankvist off from looking to the inside as well.
That's a possibility, yeah.
But it's hard to know if Stevens is actually quicker or if it's just because of the DRS keeping him there. But I'd rather be in Stevens' position right now than Maguire. Maguire's will probably use up a little bit more tyre than what Tom is. Tom's just able to kind of, I'm not going to say sit back and relax, because obviously he's looking in his mirrors for Grankvist behind him and needs to manage that gap. He's kind of having to do a bit of both, manage what's in front of him and behind him, but this is certainly one of the closest that Grankvist looked.
Yeah, Grankvist has the DRS here. He's going to the outside. This is the final turn of the lap. There is another DRS zone on the exit, which will help him. Oh, and he touched the wall. He almost got squeezed into the barriers there. DRS open once again, and I think he did get squeezed into the wall, right? He was touching Stevens and the barriers at the same time, but that's irrelevant now because he's trying to go through again. He'll have the inside line. They bang wheels on the exit once again. Please avoid the barrier, guys. And still they're side by side. Up towards the braking zone. Stevens, well, I thought yes, he has maintained the position. Now McGorky's going to get held up on the exit because Grankvist gets backed up. Oh, that was tense stuff there, and not entirely clean. There was contact with both each other several times and the barriers.
almost a little bit of frustration from Granquist there. With the poor run he had out of the last corner, I'm surprised that he made a real go into turn one. I probably think that was the worst thing he could have done. I know exactly why he did it, but from a third-party point of view, he didn't have the run that he needed to get that overtake done, and still tried it. And it's always hard that first corner, because if you don't get the move done, all the other car has to do is sit on the outside, and they've got the inside for the next corner. But both thankfully survived.
Yes, for the time being, and hopefully they don't have damage, because we can't really see that from this point of view. One thing that I would say, just to play devil's advocate, is if he had so much of an overlap on Tom Stevens' car, I mean, he was side by side with him going onto that straight there, should Stevens have given him more room on the exit, for example?
Potentially.
So I think they're going to swap here. THRs are going to swap. So Tom Stevens will have his turn to lead, and Adam Maguire now has the angry Jan Granqvist on his tail. Whether that was a team decision, whether Stevens was just that much faster that he could go through, we of course will not know until at least the end of this race. We are starting to see some pit stops now. Stepkowski is in, and Zoltschuk is also in. Those were two drivers who started on the soft compound of tyre. And this is around the point that we're expecting to see the earliest of pitters pitting. That was a very bad way of phrasing that, but there you go. And that, of course, is because in the Super Lights race, the eventual race winners ended up pitting around lap 16 or 17, and you usually start to see the very first pitters coming in maybe 4 or 5 laps before that. So, yes, expect to see the leaders in at least, let's say, the next 5 laps or so. I think any longer than that would be a bit much.
That move, that switch of the lead is exactly what I was talking about earlier. The new Granqvist was far enough back. They were able to get the overlap done before they actually got into the corner as well. That's exactly the best scenario for them to do a lead switch. But we see now Granqvist again going to the outside. Let's see if Maguire gives him space.
Well, he doesn't quite need to, because he had the room on the exit, but here we go again. Jan Granqvist lining him up and slipstreaming on the exit of the corner. Now remember, if he keeps it on the outside here, he will have the inside for the next turn. He's gone wide, nearly crashes into the back of Tom Stevens' car. McGorgy will go through to third, look. Oh, that is not how he would have wanted it to go.
No, really wasn't expecting the overspeed. Well, he should have been expecting. He had the DRS wide open, but you could see that Maguire also had DRS and was using the slipstream from Tom Stevens, so was always going to have the better run into turn 1 there.
Now, could Tom Stevens, I'm not suggesting that there was any foul play, because I haven't seen telemetry and I don't believe Tom would do this, but could Tom Stevens have, if he'd wanted to, been a bit sneaky there, lifted off a bit early and caused mayhem for the drivers behind him? Of course, the risk... He could have... I mean, the risk there is that, you know, if someone runs into the back of you, it doesn't really matter if it was their fault or not, because you could still be taken out of the race. But, yes, could it be that Tom Stevens was like, oops, I just missed the accelerator a little there?
Yeah, of course, every team does that, I'm sure. To what extent? Wow, that was a big cut from Tom Stevens there. To what extent? I'm not saying there's any malicious in it. I do it in series that I race with, but yeah, got a little bit risky there. And now they've managed to just create a gap so that there's a no DRS between Maguire and McGorgy now. McGorgy, no DRS here. You're going to be an absolute sitting duck, and he opts for the pits. Best thing to do there, really. He's gone different to everybody else. He was a sitting duck. He was always going to get past anyway, so might as well go for a little bit of an alternate strategy, get a major undercut on these guys.
But that's given THR a lead of 1.7 seconds, or at least Stevens a lead of 1.7 seconds. Maguire will have the buffer of over a second, so he does not have to worry about Granqvist with the DRS. McGorgy here is trying to go for an undercut strategy, meaning he's trying to put on fresher tyres sooner to have the grip and potentially pass people on his outlap. Oh my goodness, well, I'm glad that Zapala saw him coming there. But he is going to get rather held up here by a driver who started on medium tyres and much older medium tyres at this point in the race. yellow flags out there somewhere. Jarl Tyne just dropped a place. I do hope it's not him involved, because he was badly involved on the opening lap as well, but I'm afraid it is. Jarl Tyne is out of the race. We saw the yellow flags, we saw him dropping places, and the winner of the Italian Grand Prix will not be a feature in this one.
Hopefully that's nothing to do with Daniel Stefkowski there, because them two were close on track.
That's true, that's true. I'm sure your alarm bells will be ringing about that one.
Oh yes, fingers are firmly crossed on that one. But I've just got to give a shout out here, Alex Lahou as well. Absolutely flying at the front of the field there, smashing it in the leading pack. But are we going to see any more pitters this lap? Anybody going to react to what McGorgy's done?
Almost definitely, I'd say. Almost definitely.
Yeah,
Here comes Alex Lahou and Tom Stevens. They're both in. So Maguire leads, and Grankvist has got much closer to him on that last lap. Grankvist's last lap was, well, I can't tell you how much quicker than Maguire's it was, because it was invalid. But look at that. He's right on the tail of the THR car here. And I was mentioning before how the DRS train had been broken. It's well and truly alive again, albeit not so much of a train anymore. Martin and Bratchuk are also into the pits this time around. Now, where did Tom Stevens come out? Well, he's miles ahead of McGorgy. He's got two cars separating them. What about... who were the other drivers who pitted? Alex Lahou, that's true. Lahou's jumped McGorgy, look at that. So Alex Lahou comes out ahead of Owen McGorgy, and that will be because McGorgy came out in traffic. So while McGorgy did pass Germano Zapala fairly quickly, and actually did a very good job to do that in the middle part of the track, he's lost enough time that Lahou has been able to overcut him, and that of course means that Lahou could be on course for a net podium potentially.
Oh, yeah, that'd be pretty cool to see. It seems like the undercut hasn't been too strong as well, like Stepkowski.
Grankvist setting up Maguire here. Exit of turn one. Whoa, big slide from Maguire. He'll pit, surely. I believe Maguire will be heading for the pit lane here. And Grankvist does not decide. I was wondering if he would decide to stay out and use the DRS. But no, they both come in. Here is McGorgy on the back of Hygo Poom. Needs to pass him quickly. Darts to the inside. And leaves Hygo out to dry on the outside. There we go. The orange car just up ahead is Alex Lahou. That's who McGorgy is really fighting. But look at Poom. He's coming back at him here. Hygo Poom not content to just sit back and take it. Stevens and Maguire Maguire and Grankvist both pitted on that last lap. And look at this. And that's Adam Maguire out of the pits. So McGorgy and, well, pretty much everyone there has jumped Adam Maguire. So it's Stevens leading from Alex Lahou, second place, 3 seconds back. McGorgy is third, and then Maguire is fourth. So Maguire gets jumped by 3 people. Stein Hangraf there sets the fastest lap of the race after going on to soft tyres. That has not worked out for Adam Maguire, but look at Alex Lahou up into second place.
I also have something to do for Grankvist. Not only is obviously Poom ahead of him on track, but there's a gap now as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, he will pass Poom, but wow, did not expect Lahou to be coming out in P2 there, and Stevens, biggest gainer. Look at that, 3 seconds now at P2. Unbelievable.
Alex Lahou has never finished a Super League race before. He started 3 last season as Jan Grankvist makes an important move on Hygo Poom. Lahou started the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, the British Grand Prix and the Hungarian Grand Prix last year. Did not finish any of those, but he's had more success in other categories. He won one of the rounds in South Africa in Formula Sprint 1. There is Moritz Kropp now getting past Hygo Poom as well. Kropp is fighting with Grankvist in the effective order. And back to Lahou, he's also won races in Formula Sprint 2, the Academy Series, and even Super Lights in the past. In fact, he won the first 2 rounds of the Super Lights Championship this year. So will not, as Tomasz Wok passes Germano Zapala, will not be a full-time Super League contender, providing he wants to keep that Super Lights Championship fight alive. And Philip Pushke pits. Stein Hangraf here, making up places on fresh tyres. But yes, Alex Lahou is second position in this race, and that is on merit, Ryan.
Yeah, what a legend. Absolutely rapid. But I think looking at the state of of the timing tower right now. Stevens race is in his hands, really.
Yep, Stevens getting away. He just set the fastest lap of the race, a 1:33.69. And sorry, I just saw a yellow flag, so I'm just keeping an eye out for anyone who might be dropping. Tomasz Vok just passed Jimano's... Zolciuks, okay, very good. Yeah, I was going to say Vok has just passed Sapala, but that was for position, and that's because, of course, Sapala is yet to stop. But unfortunately, it looks as if Zolciuks, the car who was fastest in the speed trap in qualifying, will unfortunately go no further. So it's been a little bit of a race for attrition so far. Still quite a few cars remaining, because, of course, we had 30 starters. Tomasz Vok passing Haigo Pu. But unfortunately, we're down 6 already, down 7 now. 8, sorry, I forgot Chris Shepherd.
Wow, a lot of DNFs, not particularly what we like to see, but it's this kind of track just lends itself to that, doesn't it?
It does indeed, especially at the start. Fabrizio Gobbi pits, Stepkowski passes Zapala. It's all change at this point in the race. And we're about to see a replay of what happened to Zolciuks, whether it was an accident or a disconnection. At this circuit, you have to kind of assume accident until proven otherwise, and there we go. Turns in way too early, and Lance Strolls it, I believe, at the same point on the track as well.
I was going to say that.
Exactly. I'm afraid that's race over. So, we're looking now at Adam Maguire, pole sitter, who has dropped out of the podium places due to not quite getting the strategy right, not quite having the in-lap that he would have wanted. I think it's entirely possible he made a mistake at one point, because we suddenly saw him with Jan Grankvist right on his gearbox, where he had a second beforehand, so it's entirely possible he lost at least a second out there on track somewhere. And in a race this tight, that can mean all sorts of positions lost. You can see just how close they are on the timing beam. If he had a second now, he'd be ahead of not just Magorgi, but Lahu as well. Tom Stevens has a 3-second lead. The RSR cars have just swapped. Vok up to 7th, ahead of Stepkowski. No, Stepkowski did pit, didn't he? Stepkowski was one of the first cars to pit, so he's actually gained a couple of positions himself in the pit stages. And Tomasz Vok, of course, would have been in. He started much higher up the order. Not a bad race from Stepkowski so far. There's Dylan Fisher running P11. Just gained P11 after Jimano Zapala pits. New fastest lap, Jan Grankvist, 1:33.2. So Grankvist charging. He's chasing Adam Maguire, who also set his personal best lap of the race that last time around. So it's all closing up at the front yet again, Ryan.
Well, almost at the front.
Yes.
P2 backwards. It's going to be quite the scrap. There's going to have to be something, either a mistake from Stevens or some major strategy call that's going to have to reel him back in. But I've seen Maguire now all over the gearbox of Magorgi. Is he going to go, flipping heck? Wow, that's quite something to watch. He goes to the inside.
Oh, look at this. Oh, well, they run out over the curbs. That is a very, very brave overtake. I tell you what, you don't normally expect, and Magorgi's coming back to him here, you don't normally expect overtakes until you're on the start-finish straight at least. And the fact, I mean, remember, you've got to keep 2 wheels on the curb at all times. I believe from watching those cars that they did, as Maguire taps the wall slightly on the exit of the final turn. Magorgi will have a run, though. We know his car's faster in a straight line. They're going 3 wide. Look at Grankvist. Grankvist's going to get them both. Amazing move. He set himself up perfectly for the straight. And we've just seen 2 fantastic overtakes in the space of about 30 seconds. Maguire, who gained a place on Magorgi, got up to 3rd position. He's now dropped 2. It's all changed. Grankvist is up to 3rd. Amazing racing between the 3 of them, Ryan.
That was insane. I did not see that slingshot coming from Grankvist. That was really good, and he managed to, I thought he might have run a little bit wider turn 1, but no, he got it stopped perfectly. It was insane. And now he's setting his eyes on Lahu, who has had a couple of seconds to breathe. There's a little gap now forming. But I assume Grankvist is going to be on the back of him in the next 1 to 2 laps. Grankvist got a point to prove after that bad strategy call, which doesn't often happen from the Super Venturi guys. They're normally really good on the strategy calls, but
Indeed.
bad in lap, I think, was what caused that one.
If Maguire did make a mistake, then of course Grankvist would also have been negatively affected by that. I think they both lost a bit of time through that sector there with McGorky and Maguire. I tell you what, Maguire doesn't usually settle for the typical overtaking opportunities. Potentially because, as we've seen from the speed traps, the THR doesn't quite have the straight line speed of some of the other cars, but even so, he's being very brave about it. DRS flaps will open here. Is there going to be another opportunity? As they approach turn 1, he's getting closer. He will have to go to the outside line. McGorky covered off the inside, but that will of course turn into the inside line and goes back through. Ooh, please keep in mind that there's a car on your inside. He does. Good move from Maguire once again. It's also worth noting that these two cars are on... actually, they are on the same tyre compound, aren't they? My race view is sometimes quite hard to keep track of when it comes to tyre compounds, but yes. So Maguire goes through. Looks like George Zalagianis pitting, and that's to be expected since he hadn't pitted from the start. But yes, amazing move from Adam Maguire once again. The YouTube chat reacting to the Jan Grankvist overtake. Shimon Frelick says Jan's got to win this. Well, I tell you what, he's only got 2 cars in front of him now. Isaac Clark says Jan was like, yes, please. Liam Duval says Maguire 75 racing IQ. 75? It's more than that. I tell you what, he's raced way better than that the last couple of laps. Oh, sorry, I wouldn't have even read that YouTube comment out if I'd read the full thing first. But anyway, Liam Duval says Frelick win. Yes, indeed. I'm sure Shimon would like that. No, I'm getting fully confused, fully distracted by the YouTube chat now when there's still exciting things going on the circuit. DRS will once again be available now as they cross the white line, coming up towards the start-finish straight. And up towards turn 1 as well. We're nearly at the halfway point in this race. Still some drivers yet to stop. Those who started on medium tyres, because no one did start on the full hard compound. Here's the TX3s swapping places. And through as well comes Germano Zapala in that one. So nice little scrap going on for P13, 14 and 15. And it's important to remember, Ryan, that points go down to 15th in this one. So this is still for points.
Yeah, Zapala, I think, on the fresher tyres out of the 3 cars that we can see on screen. Interestingly, the Gobby didn't move into the direction of his teammate to give his teammate a slipstream in that.
Yeah.
He kind of pulled Zapala all the way along the straight, but I think he just wanted to try and defend the inside of the corner, so you can kind of get that. But go back to our scrap for P2. McGorgy fell right off the back of this, so 3-way scrap now for P2. Lahu leading the way for this one, and Stevens, he's edged out 6 to 7 tenths, I'd say, on Lahu, but the gap isn't getting that much bigger really. But I assume now when these 3 start scrapping that Stevens will run up into the distance.
Well, here we go again, onto the start-finish straight. Jan Grankvist has the DRS and has the slipstream. To the outside he goes, and he will get 2nd place from Alex Lahu into the braking zone for turn 1. Good move from Jan Grankvist, just as the one he pulled on Maguire and McGorky a couple of laps ago. There's Maguire now attempting to find a way through as well, to follow Jan Grankvist before he starts to get away. This reminds me a lot of Suzuka last year, where Grankvist just suddenly started breezing past people, and you all know what happened then. Just a few laps before the end, he was on the leaders. Unfortunately, still didn't quite manage to pull it off. That was an amazing race. But yes, he's now got clean air in front of him, 3.5 seconds of clean air to be precise. And we'll have to wait and see what he can do with that, as Alex Lahu is forced to fend off Adam Maguire, Ryan.
Lahu doing a good job. Moving far off the back of Grankvist, but obviously he's got Maguire breathing down his neck, which is always frightening. You never know when Adam's going to pounce. He pulls off moves in some of the craziest of corners when you least expecting it. things they're starting to settle down, but next thing I know there'll be people overtaking left, right and centre. But there is definitely gaps starting now to spread. There's a good 4 or 5 seconds between Moritz Krop and Thomas Vach. Vach leading the 2 RSR cars are kind of in sync, as we see Maguire now, DRS open, also DRS on the Who car. He's still going to go for it though. Does he get it stopped? Slides in. Yes, he does.
Not just on the curbs, but within the white lines too, and he came from a long way back. Another good move from Adam Maguire there. Welcome into the YouTube chat, Ed Hunter, who commentated alongside me at the last round. Very dutifully filled in for Ryan here. Ed says, Owen looks like he's hit issues. He's losing a lot of times. Yes, I was just thinking about that. Owen McGorgy, after being passed by Jan Grankvist, has really started to drop back from this fight. So we'll have to wait and see if he does drop into the clutches of Moritz Krop, as Jakob Lalu is about to pull a move on Philip Pushke. There he goes. Or whether it's just that the top 4 have really got to move on and McGorky doesn't quite have that pace. It might of course just be that he doesn't feel the same balance in his car on this set of tyres as he did on the last set. Sometimes we really do see that much of a difference between drivers on one set of tyres and drivers on another set of tyres. And of course each driver has to use 2 compounds of slick tyre throughout the course of the race, so that's also a possibility. As we've lost Giuseppe Ragusa, I'm afraid to say. So we've now got 9 cars out of the race, and the latest of those is Giuseppe Ragusa's TX3.
What's going on? Being cruel to us. As you see now with Wire suddenly having a bit of a burst of pace, I think. And is it just me, or is Stevens getting a little bit closer?
He
in
is.
front of us. His car's starting to come into shot, which is exactly what I like to see.
Well, we're going to see a replay now. This will be Ragusa, I believe. Giuseppe Ragusa, virtual drivers by TX3. Looks to be all out of shape through the S's. And is that a... Yes, that's exactly what I expected was going to happen. And another big shunt. You can see black smoke emerging from the car, and when you see that, you know you've done something wrong. So I'm afraid 9 retirements from this race so far, and you ask what's happening here. The answer is Jeddah, I'm afraid to say. This is very much the kind of circuit that lends itself to mistakes. Now in terms of the lead scrap, looks to be slightly wider at this point, although it's hard to tell because it shrinks and it expands at different points on the circuit. It's been remaining relatively stable between the top 2. Grankvist's last lap was about 1/10 of a second faster than Stevens. Their best laps are separated by about 4/10 in Grankvist's favour. But lap on lap, it's really not that much. But Grankvist does seem to have ever so slightly the edge. So that, and you can see Stevens up the road ahead of him there as well. That does bode nicely for the race, because as you can see, he's pulling Maguire with him. But Maguire also has DRS look, so you can't really write him off. And still, Jan has that position into the corner. And once again, his lap time was slightly faster than Stevens, but only ever so slightly, Ryan.
You can definitely see where Grankvist's faster, and it seems to be in the straights.
I'd say so too.
Through middle sector especially, he's getting Stevens edges out the gap, but in the last sort of sector into the first sector of, along the start finish straight, Grankvist definitely closes it in. But the worst thing that could happen for Grankvist right now is that Maguire starts, showing him a wheel on the inside and stuff like that, because Maguire's probably thinking more of a team game, that he wants at least one of the THR cars to win. If it's not him, it has to be Stevens. But Grankvist on his own here, he's a THR sandwich. He's got to really think about how he plays this one out, and he didn't want to burn his tyres either, because Maguire's already so close, and Lahu too, ready to pounce on him if he makes a mistake or if he burns his tyres too hard. Still got probably a little ways to go before he comes in for a pit stop, unless he goes for something bold. But yeah, he really needs to try and make as much of a dent as he can while keeping Maguire behind.
I'll continue to watch those lap times and the gaps between them. We can see this time around 134.1 from Stevens, 133.8 from Grankvist. So again, the gap comes down. It really is coming down, but just how quickly has to be seen, because of course it's to do with the average decrease of the gap rather than lap on lap. You could just have a slight mistake for your opponent one time around. But anyway, there is Tom Stevens out in the lead, sparks flying from the bottom of the car. That's how low they run them. And I do hope you aren't getting too much background noise from my side right now, but there are currently rather large hailstones being flung at my window. Luckily, not quite as bad weather here in Jeddah. They seem to have it a lot more mild, and I hope you do where you are as well, Ryan, because this is getting rather loud and distracting actually. But back to the race. Here's Germano Zappala, who has gained 14 places from his starting position, and I don't think he's stopped yet. He might. No, he hasn't made a stop yet, unless I'm very much mistaken.
No hailstones on my end, and definitely no hailstones in Saudi Arabia right now.
Sorry, Vince, what was that?
I think the pit stop graphics slightly out. A few people showing 0 stops that definitely have pitted. Magagi being one of them, so hard to tell. As you go back, Lahoo seems to be getting a bit closer now. It's going backwards and forwards, and look at the gap from P1 to P2 as well. It's down in the low 2-second range. If we go back a lap or two, it was 3 seconds.
Grankvist gained 5 tenths. He gained half a second on Tom Stevens that last lap, and I tell you what. And it's really boosted Alex Lahoo as well, because Lahoo's last lap was his personal best of the race. So not only is Grankvist going for it, but he is very much bringing Maguire and Lahoo with him, who are both just as fast in terms of the lap times right now. This is getting exciting for the lead once again. I know it looked as if Stevens was getting away in those pit stages, but to be honest, he had it's part good fortune, but also good foresight to come out ahead of the traffic that the other cars got stuck behind. So as a result, he ended up with a significant advantage over the others. But Grankvist, who had a significant disadvantage, remember he was 6th at one point, has shown that he has the pace to bring it back. And there's nothing to say that it won't continue on this way for the rest of the race. I guess the only other thing we've got to wait and see is, are they two-stopping?
Yeah, could also be that. Strategy is definitely going to come into it, but I'm applauding Grankvist. I know obviously the race isn't over, but having he's obviously got a good pace, and the fact that he's been able to keep his head screwed on as well through what seemed like a pretty poor strategy call, and at that point some people might have just, I don't know, got in a bad space in the head and kind of settled for where they were, but pushing on, really pushing on. That's what I like to see. Formula 1, eat your heart out. We've got a 3, potentially 4 car scrap for the lead going on here.
I never like to compare to the real world of motor racing, but this is very exciting indeed. 20 laps to go. The lead battle is now down to under 2 seconds, and at this rate we're going to have 4 cars involved in it, because Alex Lahoo is also gaining. Actually, he did seem to lose a bit of time on that last lap, but I'm sure he'll be back with them if they start scrapping. Jan Grankvist and Adam Maguire, 2 of the fastest cars on the track right now. Maguire's last lap 9 tenths faster than his teammate Tom Stevens. That's the kind of gap that you like to see, because it means that the accordion effect is in full swing. Slightly wide there from Grankvist. He needs to keep 2 wheels on the curb, which he did not do. But they do, of course, have a certain number of points that they can use up before they start to risk a penalty for that. And look how close Adam Maguire is getting to the back of Grankvist's car. He's held back, but I tell you what, that might just be to get the DRS on the exit. Grankvist twitched. Grankvist touched the barrier. I think Maguire's going to have a chance here. He weaves. He was weaving in the mirrors of Jan Grankvist, so maybe felt that he wasn't going to get a chance and just wanted to distract the Super Venturi car. So now we go into turn 1, and Wow, so Tom Stevens, his gap shrunk again on that last lap. Only 1.3 seconds in it that time. Might be about that. Anyway, it's hard to tell considering Grankvist wasn't actually given a lap time that last time around. It was invalidated from when we saw him cut the course. Maguire himself, Maguire's lap time was 0.4 quicker than Stevens. And we can deduce that Grankvist's lap would have been about the same. And so Lally now attacks Fabrizio Gobbi for 14th place, and that was a much easier one for him there in the other Super Venturi car.
Let's see what Maguire can do this time. And again, in similar sort of range. Just looking in behind, DRS open. Obviously, we are slightly seeing that obviously the THR does have a deficit in straight line speed. So what Jan has, obviously DRS is helping that, but it's certainly not as easy. And within potentially next lap could be in DRS range for Jan onto Tom Stevens. So if Maguire's gonna make a dent, it's gonna have to be soon. Otherwise, they're gonna be oh no, there we go. He's gonna go for a pit stop instead.
Yeah.
The first of the top lads to take the plunge.
As expected, two-stop strategy. He'll probably go onto another set of mediums. They've served him well, and he can go onto the. Actually, I'll tell you what. There's only 18 laps to go. You absolutely could risk it and go onto softs. That's not out of the question. Nearly takes out the jack there on the side of the pit lane. Luckily, I don't believe that is a contactable item. But yes, he stays on the medium tyres from what we've seen. Moritz Kropp was also in the pits that last time around. He will drop out of the top 10, and just about Maguire gets out ahead of Stepkowski. Now, one of the things that really affected him in that first pit stop was that he came out in traffic. And this time around, no such bad luck. That's clean air in front of him. He should dispose or he should get away from Daniel Stepkowski quick enough considering his fresh soft tyres. And I think that's worked out a bit better for Adam Maguire that last time around. But with that being said, we do have only 18 laps to go in the race. So are any of the top guys, and if so, how many of them, are going to stay out long enough to go onto those soft tyres, run softs to the end?
I think Grankvist's got to react, surely. You know, the soft tyres on an undercut, flipping heck, he'll have to jump.
That's true.
He could go long though. We'll find out right now. He's got the DRS for the first time in a while.
Yeah, more pressingly, he's within DRS range of Stevens. He's going to use that DRS down the straight, even though Stevens is in the pits. And now is his chance. Now he's got to push. Because if this all goes his way, he could end up right with or ahead of Tom Stevens. Can we take a look at Stevens, if that's okay? I want to see if he gets a good, clean run out of the pits. Owen McGorky is also in the pits, so we will have a look at him as well. Stevens is on medium tyres, so no one jumping for those softs just yet. Now, where is he in relation to Maguire? Side by side.
Wow.
Oh, Stevens just maintains it. Stevens just maintains it. Now, I don't know about you, Ryan, but I don't really see a gap where Jan Grankvist can slot between those two THR cars. So realistically, he's going to either jump or be jumped, but which will it be?
Is it just me, or is anyone else surprised that Stevens came out ahead of that? You know, Maguire came out the pits, he had clear track and fresh tyres. I'm really surprised that he didn't get a jump, but
you only have one lap to do it, and you know, one lap to gain 1.5 seconds.
Low fuel load as well, don't forget now. I don't know, I was just a little bit surprised there. I thought it would have been a jump, but let's see what Thomas Fach can do. Can he hold him up? Can he help out Jan Grankvist?
Philip Prich just set the fastest lap of the race. It's worth noting though, only cars in the top 15 are eligible for or top 15 at the end of the race are eligible for a fastest lap point. So Prich would not score if he was to finish in 18th place. We're looking at Jakub Lally versus Daniel Stepkowski. And Stepkowski on the outside and goes through before the corner, much like we saw from Owen McGorky before or just after his first pit stop earlier on. McGorky, meanwhile, is also behind the THR guys as expected. And talking of THR, They're having to fight their way through Tomasz Vok. This could be what the doctor ordered as far as Jan Grankvist is concerned. Ooh, and Maguire was slightly caught out on the exit there as well. Wasn't quite able to turn into the corner as he would have liked, with Tomasz Vok's nose right on the inside there. Now Jan Grankvist has got to be pushing. I've said that ever since Tom Stevens came into the pits, but now is his chance, especially considering the others just got slightly held up. Ooh, Ryan, this is tense.
Yeah, if Grankvist is going to do it, I think he'll have to jump on the softs, purely.
I think so too. I think he should.
Yeah, I think he should. He's still fast though. He's gapping Lahu, who obviously was a lot faster earlier on in the race, but still there or thereabouts. But I thought Vak might have held him up just a little bit more, or at least created a bit more of a gap for Grankvist to slot into. But there's only a few tenths between.
He's out.
Stevens and Maguire.
Stays out. He's got to be thinking about softs. This is so exciting.
He is. He's extending for softs, 100%.
Right. Well, here are the THRs, almost squabbling amongst themselves. Will Adam Maguire use the DRS to prove that he's faster than Tom Stevens here? He does. He goes to the inside, so they will swap places. There we go. Stevens lets him go, and it's Adam Maguire. It's up to Adam Maguire now to fight the charging Grankvist, and now the charging Magorki too, who's just set fastest lap as Tomasz Vok comes into the pits. Magorki catching Moritz Kropp, who's jumped him, hasn't he? So Moritz Kropp there. Well, I don't remember Kropp being ahead of Magorki, so that's happened somehow. Yes, he would have jumped him.
See as well, do we think Vok's come out onto soft tyres? That'll be definitely a tell just for if Jan's going to do the same thing.
There is Tomasz Vok. Are those look like softs to me?
They look like softs to me.
Hello. Okay, well it might have just been the shading, the lighting. Of course, it's quite dark here, but yes, from the onboard it was medium tyres. And yeah, looking at race view as well, it's medium tyres, so not quite. And here is that Kropp on Martin now? Yes, so Moritz Kropp going through, although Carlos Martin still owes us a pit stop, right? Unless he's trying to maintain it to the end.
Kropp absolutely flying right now. But is that, Grankvist in the pits? Let's see, it's now or never. Is it going to be a set of softs? I
think Maguire's going to take the lead back, and it is softs.
Come on.
So Maguire and Stevens have definitely gone through. They will lead the race, but we've seen how fast Jan Grankvist is, and now that he's on the soft tyres, he's going to be very hard to hold back. Carlos Martin also in the pits, just after we were talking about him. And here is that fight that we were just looking at with Kropp and Magorki as well. You wonder whether TOP left him out in order to bring Kropp back towards Magorki. Pretty clever stuff there, as Janos Bracok and Jukka-Pekka Lalu also make their pit stops. Here is Jan Grankvist. His next lap time will almost undoubtedly be the fastest lap of the race. I'd be surprised if it wasn't. And I'm very much expecting to see that gap creep down and down and down, just as it was earlier on. He will still have to pass the two THR cars on the track, just as he tried to earlier, and they will still be working together, but this time it's different. This time he has the grip advantage, Ryan.
Gotta be 14 hot laps, that's for sure. I think they've switched Maguire and Stevens so Stevens can sit back, save tyres a little bit, is what I'd assume. So that when Grankvist does come knocking, which potentially next 2 laps, he'll have a little bit more tyre to fight it off. And I don't know, oh my goodness, this is going to be amazing. Already what looks like almost a second taken out by Grankvist on this lap alone. Tyres are going to be super fresh, and let's not forget he has the faster car in a straight line as well.
And Magorki got Kropp too. Magorki is up into 5th position, and that was partly with the help of his teammate Carlos Martin before the stop, but even so he's managed to make it stick on the road. And here are the two powered by RSR cars. Stepkowski's been running well after his slightly disappointing qualifying. And Martin passes Gobby, who pits. And the lap times, Alex Laho set the fastest lap of everyone. My goodness. So I've been watching Grankvist lap times, and of course it's going to be this one that's really, really interesting. And look at that, you can visually see the gap coming down already. I bet he's going to be 2 seconds quicker than Stevens. But yes, Alex Laho temporarily has that fastest lap. So definitely don't count him out for a podium challenge at the end of this one either. Now watch Jan Grankvist go. He's already in DRS range of Tom Stevens. And once again, I hate to bring this up, but you really are getting flashbacks of Suzuka. This is so familiar. And once again, he's charging. Watch him through the S's. Look how fast he is. He'll get the DRS open soon, because this is the second DRS zone on the track. Actually, not quite there. But he'll have it on the exit for sure. There's the detection zone. Stevens ahead of him will also have the DRS. And THR will be counting on that, because that's one of... And there... Oh, well, he's very close to the back of Maguire there. Part of me wondered whether Stevens might try to challenge anyway, almost out of fear. And Grankvist's lap was indeed the fastest of the race, 1:39.880. He's now within a second of not just Stevens, but Maguire as well. Ryan, the race for the lead is on, and Jan Grankvist, I mean... He's got the advantage, right?
He's got all the advantages right now. All he has to do is just keep it clean and let it come to him. Not do anything too rash. He's got 12 laps to go, and he also doesn't want to burn his tyres trying to get past them. That'd be the worst thing that could happen for him, because obviously soft tyres are a lot more sensitive than the mediums that the other guys have got on. Just needs to play it smart, nice and smooth. Just focus on, if he's going to do the move, making it happen in one.
I'm imagining there's a lot of people watching along now who are rooting for Jan Grankvist. Now, here in the commentary box, I have to at least pretend to be unbiased. And in this situation, I am unbiased. I'm a big fan of both Stevens and Grankvist. I get on very well with both of them. Don't know Adam Maguire quite so well, but I respect him very much as a racer. But I have to admit that if Jan Grankvist wins this race, it will be a sigh of relief, because my goodness has he deserved it for such a long time. Here he goes again in the DRS, in the slipstream. Tom Stevens poking out, trying to defend into the first corner. And it won't happen this time around. With Grankvist having the tyre advantage, the best way that he can use that is by getting a better run out of the final corner. And he's really got to think about that as he approaches it, because this is the kind of move that you set up several corners in advance. In terms of the wiggly bits of the track, he'll have more of an advantage here, but there's just nowhere to go through. So realistically, it's that final turn where he's really got to pounce.
He really needs to think about his move long and hard. He's done it a few times this race, so he knows what needs to happen. He just needs to get it set up. But it's going to be difficult. Stevens obviously able to take the DRS from Maguire in front of him as well, so not going to be simple. But you know, I can't wait to see how this is going to pan out. It's going to be an awesome finish. I say this, there's still 11 laps to go. You know, there's still a decent bit of this race to go, and we've not said a lot about him. Lahu is, I'm not going to say he's catching, but he's definitely bringing the gap down a little bit as well, so he could have a full-way scrap.
We very much could. Here we go again, onto the start-finish straight. Grankvist looks closer this time. Surely he's going to have a swipe. He goes to the inside. Stevens barely puts up a fight on the straight, and Grankvist gets alongside him, but now this is where it comes back to Stevens. He has the inside line. He's going to lose it. Grankvist is up to second. He's only got one car to go now, and he has the DRS advantage. Jan Grankvist is on a charge, and he's up to second position, Ryan.
It was only a matter of time, and he got it done early. And that's the most important thing. Now he can get his head down, focus on what's in front of him, and that is a potential first GPVWC Super League win. But out of all the people on the grid he has to overtake, it's definitely one of the best defenders, and that is Adam Maguire.
Him and Frelick says Jan's tyre's already graining, it's over. I don't know about that, Simon, and I also don't know whether you posted that comment before or after the overtake. But yeah, I still very much believe this is on. Stefan Rot says keep it clean now, and if there's anyone who knows about clean, fast racing, it's Stefan. And well done. Well, sorry, thank you for showing up and showing your support today, Stefan. We miss you on the grid. He says, oh yeah, I'm looking back. He predicted Jan extending and going on to soft tyre as well. Shimon says he was referring to a visual glitch. Very good. Well, my apologies for ridiculing you, but I think it's about to get worse because look at this. Jan Grankvist is going for Adam Maguire. He's going for the lead. He's on the inside and Jan Grankvist leads the race just one lap after taking second. He is breaking the hearts of THR and the entire squad. But I tell you what, the hearts will be full of anyone who wants to see a deserved victory go the way of Jan Grankvist.
It was only a matter of time, and now, more than ever, keep it clean. All he has to do is run his own race, try not to make any mistakes. He's got an obvious pace advantage. Keep hold of the tyres, don't let them get away from you. But the one thing that's going to be helping him out is within the next lap, Alex Lahoo is going to be all over the back of Tom Stevens. The gap now is out of just under 0.9 of a second. In the DRS range. He's got similar sort of top speed to what Granquist had, and he's on the soft tyres. Can we have an Alex Lahoo podium in Super League?
Well, that's the next question, isn't it? Because Grankvist will almost undoubtedly get away. Of course, he does have to keep an eye on his tyre life to make sure he doesn't take too much out of them before the end. So yeah, the question now is very much, can Lahoo get on the back of this train as well? I mean, he's already on the back of it. Can he get through? As he's already shown us, he's got some extremely fast pace up his sleeve. Now, I was talking to Magorgi the other day, I believe it was yesterday actually, and I asked him, how are you feeling about this one? And he pretty much predicted how it's gone down today. He said, I have quali pace, but my race pace is mid at average. And I don't necessarily know about mid, because he's still running in 5th position, but I think he was right in saying that his quali pace showed more promise than his race pace would deliver. He's dropped 12 seconds back from the lead battle, and we could still see Moritz Kropp get into the top 5. That would be taken well as well. That would be Moritz Kropp's best.
Whoa,
wide.
There.
Stevens going very wide there, being unsettled by the dirty air of Maguire ahead of him, I suppose, but he's been running in it all race, so he should be used to that by now.
I think it looked like he clipped the wall just a little bit.
Probably did.
Not 100% sure. The little snap looked like it came from a tiny bit of contact, but it doesn't seem to have affected him too much. Actually managed to gap Lahoo a little bit.
Yeah, just look back and it looks as if he did touch the wall in the right-hander before going off in the left-hander, so hopefully he's got away without damage. We're about to see a replay of this. Now, I've seen a lot of drivers doing this, pretty much every single driver, as we're looking back to Ruben Machedi now. There's the tap, there's the tap. We've seen pretty much every single driver do that over the course of the day, and I think he probably just skipped the corner to make sure he hadn't unsettled his car into a spin or anything like that. Tell you what though, he's got right onto the back of Maguire again. They're going to swap places back, RTHR now. So I guess he's saying, well, if we can't keep up with Grankvist, it's your turn to defend. So through goes Stevens. I think Lahoo lost a bit of time in those last couple of sectors there. Doesn't seem to be quite as consistent in his catching as Grankvist was, but still definitely potential there. And it's Tom Stevens who will lead THR's challenge now.
Who's definitely dropping off the back of the top 3, so might have jinxed it for a podium, but there's a huge gap behind him to Magorgi, so we've got plenty of space, and Magorgi's got his own problems with crop all over the back of him. But there's a few massive gaps appearing back as well. 13 seconds off the back of this fight that we're watching on the screen in front of us. With just 7 laps to go, all they have to do is just keep it nice and clean and steady. Those guys who have big gaps, but these two will be fighting for the top 5 honours. Really good run from Moritz Krop here, actually. See his other Nocturne teammate out of the race early doors, so he's getting some valuable team points while we're missing David Fiduk. Still absolutely good that Fiduk's gone out of Super League in this way, but
yeah, for the time being anyway. I can't imagine that being his last Super League race, but we'll have to wait and see. Do the THRs bother to swap back here? Looks like they will. So Maguire goes back through to second position. And what this might be here is if a driver has enough of a run going onto a straight, there's not really any point holding them back. Because either you lose time trying not to overtake your teammate and no one gains any time, or you can say, well, I'll go through and at least then I'll gain. So they're not really losing any time for that. It's just a case of who they feel is more beneficial in which position. And I guess just a case of team play there. Talking of team play, Ryan, your guys are right together. What would you be telling them right now?
keep it as it is. You know, while you've got nobody around you, it's just kind of pluck away. Don't make any mistakes, don't let anybody catch you. And then you've got a couple of laps to go, yeah, have a scrap, who cares? I'm all for racing each other. It's the same with my teammate in another league. Me and him are together, we just kind of pluck away, do our thing, and at the end have a little bit of fun. It's all about having fun and having a good race, so as long as they finish at least 7th and 8th, and hopefully higher, so I'm not going to try and jinx anybody, but if anything was to happen, they're ready to pounce. They're not messing about, that's all you can ask for.
7th and 8th is not bad. Do you see any point in what THR did, swapping twice in 2 laps?
Doesn't make much difference, does it? The gap in Lahu behind them, they just don't want to hold each other up. They're just, you know, like, one of you's got the overlap, just do it every lap on the straight. It's just, that's how it is. I'm sure they'll have their engineer saying the same kind of thing as what I just said. Just wait a couple more laps, let the gap build just a little bit more. Which is, yeah, a really big gap actually, one way. And then, yeah, just let it happen. You never know what could happen. They could even reel Jan back in. Certainly a possibility, so they don't want to start scrapping too early.
Well, Isaac Clark in the YouTube chat asked, Jan tyre fall off? Question mark. Looking at race view, not in the slightest. He is still in the mid 132s, which is easily quick enough to maintain the gap that he's got, if not extend it. So for the time being, Jan Grankvist is absolutely fine. The real question, of course, is about the 2 drivers behind him and what they're doing at this point in time. But I think you put it. I think you put it best when you said that it really doesn't make much of a difference. Because to be honest, from what we've seen today, it hasn't really made much of a difference who's in that car. They're both very equal in terms of their pace and their ability. And I think this race would have played out pretty much the same. No matter who was ahead at the start and ahead at any given moment. I think it would have been pretty much the same race. Of course, the difference is in racecraft, in getting through traffic and things like that. But of course, we have no way of telling exactly how they would have dealt with the situations that they put each other in. But for the time being, Grankvist leads by 3, nearly 4 seconds now from Maguire and Stevens. Alex Lahu is 4 seconds back, nearly 5 seconds back in 4th place. Doesn't look particularly likely to challenge for the podium anymore, I'm afraid to say. Owen McGorgy is 5th, then Moritz Krop, and then this little teammate tussle, if it is such a thing, between Tomasz Wok and Daniel Stepkowski, and Dylan Fisher and Carlos Martin round out the top 10. Not a bad race from Fisher, to be honest. He had a much worse one in Australia, where he was running outside of the top 20 for pretty much the whole thing. Lalu going for a move on Gobby here. This is for 14th place, and this late in the race, that doubles your points tally. Oh dear, but only if you can make it stick. Little touch, little rubbing of wheels through the turn. I have to say as well, Lalu is normally a bit closer to Grankvist's pace than this. Admittedly, Grankvist did have the upper hand last season, but Lalu, he's no slouch, has pace, has ability, and he himself, I've predicted at times, could well snag a win if everything goes his way on the day. But today, I'm afraid, didn't really look very likely at all.
A few standout performances for me. I'd say Handgraf as well.
Yep.
P13, good run. Machete, good comeback as well. Obviously having issues at the start of the race.
Nearly points now.
Yeah, nearly in the points. Only second off the points right now. Bracklock as well, good run. There's been loads of good drives, and a lot of people who've not had the greatest start to the race, but kept the head down, flipped away, and have got points or got close to points instead of giving up early on. That's one thing that I really don't like. I tell my guys, always finish the race. You never know.
Absolutely. Especially on a day like today when only 21 cars look to be finishing anyway.
Yeah.
And it's worth noting that, Janos Bračok, who you've mentioned just now, is only one place off the top 10 in his first Super League race. Very good performance from Janos. Of course, a relatively experienced sim racer anyway. He was definitely a driver who was on my radar coming into this one. Handgraf and Zapala appear to be fighting. Handgraf, Zapala and Gobby appear to be fighting now over that 12th position. Hopefully that's all nice and clean, because they've got Lally right up with them as well. My goodness. We're looking at Krop versus Magorgi. This is over 5th position. Oh, big twitch from Krop. Very good save to keep it out of barriers. Very clever hands and feet there from Moritz Krop, but unfortunately that will put him off the tail of Owen Magorgi. And that may well be that fight over, as we look back to the THRs, who are still separated by the width of an envelope maybe, and Carlos Martin now going for 9th on Dylan Fisher.
Hey, what, it's at that point there for Krop where he's probably went, oof, need to have a word with myself. Just keep it clean for the end of the race. That could have been a DNF right there. As you see now, Martin goes to the outside, DRS wide open. Get them, yeah, he gets it done well before the corner. Dylan Fisher's just gonna have to sit in behind, wait for another lap, wait for his time to come, and try and pounce back. What a scrap we've got going on here for what's this, P12? Yeah.
Yep, 12 down to 15th here. Great little fight. And down the straight they go, so DRS flaps will be wide open. This is Handgraf we're looking at, going to the outside. Handgraf, I believe, in only his second Super League race, so this would be his best performance if he was to finish here. I will double check his stats really quickly, because I never like to get that kind of thing wrong.
But there's been a major mistake at the front of the pack. Granquist lost about 2 seconds to Adam Maguire.
Oh, you're right. He started this lap 3.9 seconds off, and it's now showing up as 1.6 seconds. So did something happen there that we missed? We have to assume that it did. And the THRs now can see him much bigger in their sights up ahead of them. We might be able to get a replay of that, but no pressure if that's hard to find. And we're on the penultimate lap of the race now. Yeah, and looking at the lap times, he lost 2.3 seconds to Maguire there, and about 3 seconds to his usual pace. Goodness, big mistake.
Just keep it clean, Jan. You know what we've been saying this entire stream, and what Stefan Ruat was saying in the chat as well. Just keep it clean. It's his race to lose right now, and the guys behind know, and they sense it. They're ready to pounce.
Ready to pounce they are. And there you see in the bottom right the graphic battle for first. Now, hopefully for Granqvist... Oh, are they going to swap again? This is a strange part on the course to do that, but there you go. There is DRS active there. And through goes Tom Stevens. So Stevens back up to second again. You never know what order they're going to be in next time you look. Gobby and Zapala are still swapping places down in 12th position as we're watching this. But yeah, of course, if Granqvist has taken a bit out of his tyres, these guys will probably have fresher tyres at this point in time, because they're running the harder compound. But anyway, just one more lap to go now. Granqvist only has one more tour to hang on for his first Super League victory. He hasn't exactly made it easy for himself. Dropped several places in that pit stage. had to fight his way through and then has seemingly made a mistake or been held up somehow just a couple of laps from the end, but he's got a second, so if he just brings it home, he should be able to win this race. We're looking here at the battle for 12th. Gobby, Zapala, Lalu, Handgraf and Machete involved now. Machete could still get a point out of this, despite being tapped into a spin earlier on. That's what I was going to say about Dylan Fisher just now. Dylan has actually driven a pretty good race. I've been fairly impressed by him here. He will have a question to answer after that incident, but that's for the stewards to decide. And in terms of his pace on track, I think he's been very good. And there is the attempted manoeuvre from Lalu, who will have a better run on Zapala on the exit of the corner. Down the straight he goes, DRS open, and through into 14th place. Zapala takes a look at coming back at him, and they maintain their positions. All right, now, if it's okay, I'd love to look back at Grankvist because the gap has come down to 0.4 of a second. So this lap hasn't been great either. You wonder whether he's picked up damage maybe, or whether his tyres have gone off. He's got one more corner to do. Stevens takes a look, probably just trying to unsettle him. And Grankvist has maintained it. After 20 Super League races, 8 podiums and 1 pole position, Jan Grankvist is a Super League winner by just 0.3 of a second. Amazing race there. Tom Stevens second, Adam Maguire third. So both the THRs get on the podium, making up for their very disappointing first race at Australia. 4th place goes to Alex Lahoud. Great drive from him. That's his first Super League finish, let alone top 5 finish. Owen McGorky will be 5th, followed by Moritz Kropp. I think that's Kropp's best performance as well. Tomasz Vok, P7, Daniel Stepkowski, P8. Good performance from RSR. Then it's this battle, Martin and Fisher. Who's going to be ahead here? Fisher gets it. Dylan Fisher, in what I think is his first Super League top 10 finish, will be 9th place, taking Martin on the line. Janos Brachuk, P11. Gobby and Lalu are still fighting. This is over P12. Goodness me, it's not over yet. Out of the final turn they go. Lally will get DRS, of course. It's still active on the last lap. Oh, very late defensive manoeuvre from Gobby, and he just fends him off. Gobby 12th, Lalu 13th. 14th Zapala, 15th Handgraf. That's Handgraf's first point in GPVWC Super League. There's probably some other first-time points finishes that I've missed. Oh, Brachuk, of course. 11th on his debut. Not a bad performance from him whatsoever. And then we've still got fights. This is Panzer versus Poom, even though it won't be for a point. Unless, of course, there are significant penalties up ahead. Looks like Philip Pushke isn't going to make it to the line. He's showing up as a DNF before the end of the race. So, drama right to the finish here. And in the end, we'll have 21 cars classified. I think 20 of them cross the finish line at the end. Goodness me, what a race, Ryan. I know we've only had 2 races, but race of the season. Wow.
Yes, definitely race of the season. Jan Grankvist, Super League winner. Finally can say that out loud.
Absolutely.
I don't have a clue what happened though. What happened in that last couple of laps? He definitely made a mistake, but then
we'll have to ask him. Well, Pushke's decided not to finish by the looks of things. Possibly, and I don't know if he would have run out of fuel or whether he would have just thought, well, I'm clearly not scoring points. Now here's Grankvist. At this point it looks as if he's got maybe 2 seconds of an advantage. So I think this is after the original mistake, but we might be able to see another one. We're going through the replays to see if we can catch anything that might have happened to Jan Grankvist. But I'm imagining that's going to be quite a hard replay to find, so no pressure. In the meantime, oh, there we go, we found it. Okay, let's have a look at how this has started, because he's clearly gone straight on at the first corner. Okay, so we're going down the start-finish straight, and he's just going to maybe lose concentration, miss his braking zone. Yep, easy peasy, off he goes. But luckily, even with a couple of mistakes... Oh, he tagged the wall as he was rejoining the track, look at that. But even with a couple of mistakes, he was able... He was able to come home and win this Grand Prix. So, fantastic performance, and we are now going to talk to our newest GPVWC... Sorry, what's that, Vince? Okay, well, we're going to take a look at the race results first. Sorry about that. I'm just getting you guys excited, whetting your appetite for the interviews segment. But yes, let's take a look at the race results if we can. Jan Grankvist becomes a GPWC Super League winner at last. Tom Stevens was second, followed by Adam Maguire. I believe Tom will probably lead the championship now, although that is unconfirmed, and it'll be close with McGorgy. So Adam Maguire was third, Alex Lahoe fourth, very good. Owen McGorgy was fifth place after winning the first round. Moritz Kropp was sixth, then it was Tomasz Wok and Daniel Stepkowski, the RSRs. Dylan Fisher P9 in the newly rebranded aka Hero car. Carlos Martin P10. Then we move on to the second slate. We have Janos Bracciok on his GPWC Super League debut. And then Fabrizio Gobbi, Jukka-Pekka Lalu, there is the other Super Venturi car in 13th. Germano Zapala 14th. Stein Handgraf gets his first point in 15th place. Then Ruven Machedi, George Zalagianis, Robin Pansar, Heigo Poom, and Philip Pushke, who will be classified, even though he didn't cross the start-finish line at the end. And finally, we have Jeffrey Fournier, and then all of the non-classified runners. Giuseppe Ragusa had a big crash, Zolt Schukes had a big crash. I'm sure you get where this is going. Jörg Tyen, Chris Shepard, Istvang Zingel, Mark Schluter, David Feidork, Matthew Williams, and Matthias Moos are the other DNFs. Probably all of those due to big crashes. So that is the order. Those are the 30 drivers who competed in this race, but none of them will be quite so happy and quite as relieved as Jan Grankvist. Jan, do you hear us?
Yes, I hear you.
Very good. Sorry for bringing you into the interview room so early, but congratulations on your very first GPWC Super League race victory. How does that feel?
Yeah, thanks. Thank you very much. And, well, if I can one time say this phrase, fucking finally. It's been a long time coming, man. I'm really happy with that. I can't believe what I did on, like, lap 47, was it? That was just unbelievable. I was in complete disbelief of what I'd done. And by the end, I was just out of breath.
So what happened? Just concentration got away from you?
Yeah, I don't know. I just blanked out entirely. And then once I started braking, I realized, wait, I was braking at the 50-meter board.
Well, it's a good job it didn't cost you much in the end, but it was a darn close one. 0.3 seconds, as near as makes no difference, was your advantage at the end of that one. Goodness me, THR were strong contenders today. How did you beat them?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think everyone was in shock as soon as we started seeing some laps in practice from Adam Maguire. Huge, I mean, congrats to THR to be able to step up so much from the first round. And yeah, I mean, at first, I was really scared. I didn't know what to expect from their race pace, but I knew I still had an ace up in my sleeve with my top speed this time. I made a very, very exotic, let's say, setup for this round, and yeah, it was just really, really nice for the race, and I can't be happier with how it worked out.
Absolutely. Now, it didn't all work out your way. We noticed that you dropped quite a few positions in the first pit window, and had to, of course, pass a few cars after that one. Were you on a slightly different strategy, or did you just try something that didn't quite work?
Well, it was at first a lot to do with how I was choosing my battles with THR. I managed to get past Owen in some of the first laps quite nicely, so thanks for him to racing me nicely. But yeah, with THR I got a bit sketchy. Well, I did a mistake at the end, but then at some point Tom Stevens caught me off guard, pushed me a bit to the wall. I was already fully on the brakes as well. I knew I was not getting out of that gap, and well, luckily enough for both of us, it didn't cost us much, and it didn't cost me a front wing. But yeah, that certainly cost me, and then me missing the braking point in turn one and some of the laps I was battling with THR ultimately cost me those positions, and I ended up behind Owen once again. But after that, it was just a steady climb. After that, I just had to recollect myself and just start fully concentrating on what was ahead of me, and yeah, it worked out.
Worked out very well, and I am absolutely delighted for you. Jan, for such a long time, we've been almost joking about how your the Lando Norris of GPWC, which are actual words that I've used. Always on the podium, somehow never taking the victory. But Jan, you're leading the championship, man.
Yeah, pretty happy with that actually. That's a new for me for Super League.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations. Ryan, do you have anything to add before we move on?
The massive congratulations. Obviously, so close at Suzuka. On that day, no offense, I was particularly happy that it was my driver that had won. But I think a lot of us have always been secretly rooting for you. Really good for you, good for the team. Do we think it's going to be the first of many? I'm sure you certainly hope so, Jan. Say the first one's always the hardest, but now keep it going. It was a little bit leery at times, but you kept your head on, kept it going, and we were so happy to see the soft tyre. What made you go soft? Was it just completely want to just do the opposite of what THR had done?
Yeah, it was. Well, I always knew I was going to the soft tyre for the end. The soft tyre was working particularly well. I think with lower wings, it might have been that the softer compounds just worked a lot better. So we weren't even thinking of doing 2 medium stints realistically. So yeah, it was always in the strategy, and it worked out really well for us. And yeah, as you said, I don't think at least any of us in Super Venturi will ever forget Suzuka. But yeah, finally, at least we get to celebrate a win in Jeddah. So yeah, happy.
Congratulations, Jan, both for you and, of course, the team that you run, because that is also Super Venturi's first win in Super League. Congrats, man.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so that was our newest GPWC race winner, Jan Grangqvist. We're now going to move on, of course, to second place. Tom Stevens. Tom, how are you?
Hello, I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm okay, thanks. Especially after watching that race. My God, that was a close one. Battles all the way through. You and Jan made wheel-to-wheel contact. You and Adam swapped places like it was a game of some sorts. What was going on there? Could you talk us through some of that?
Well, me and Adam, we did a lot of practice for this race, a lot of training on track, and we found out that it's just so easy to stick behind the other person. So we were just being tactical, and when necessary, we were letting the faster driver ahead just to try and advance our position on track, because the last thing we want is to keep swapping every lap and then costing ourselves time or have the slower person in front. So we were just being tactical with who was ahead just to maximize our performance out there. But yeah, that was a breathtaking race. There was so much going on. Big congrats to Jan. He fully deserved the win there. I don't know how he managed to hang on to those softs at the end. He barely did, but he got it to the end. Great job to him. And I've got to say, big thanks to everyone at THR on Nocturne. Amazing prep going into this race. Couldn't have done it without you guys. So thank you very much.
Well, it's good to see that there's no malice between you and Jan, because you did bang wheels at one point. There was a bit where Jan ended up slightly in the barriers. We were wondering just how that came about, and just rough racing, or was there something more to it?
I mean, at the start of the race, I really wanted to maintain a THR 1-2 going through the first pit stop phase, so it's really important to try and keep that to defend from behind. But I do like getting my elbows out sometimes, and I'm a bit sorry. I'll have to watch it back, but I apologise if that was my fault. But I don't know. That's just racing.
That's okay. Yeah, it just looked like racing to us as well. Another thing I wanted to bring up, which is slightly left field, was we noticed after qualifying that THR actually had the slowest speed trap speeds of any of the top 20 cars in qualifying. Were you going for a slightly different setup here, something a bit more corner based, and were you ever worried that was going to put you down in the race?
Well, it was a concern, but it mainly boils down to the upgrade path that we're taking, because compared to everybody else, most other teams have gone for body drag upgrades, and on the engine, every other engine supplier has gone for boost mapping, where we have gone for mass. So we were already going to be slightly behind on top speed, and I do believe our setup did have slightly more wing. So there was always going to be a straight line speed deficit, but we went with it. We did try to minimise the top speed deficit that we had, but it was fine in the end, and it really helped out in Sector 1 and in qualifying. So yeah, I'm not too worried about that going forwards.
Very good. Well, you're now level second in the championship with Magorgi by our count. So I know it's too early to be talking about championship standings, but there's a tasty little three-way scrap going on there with you on the podium twice, Jan on the podium twice, and Magorgi, of course, picking up a win. How do you see that developing in the next few rounds?
Well, first of all, I say don't count out Adam. He had amazing
Very
pace
true.
today, so I think there could be even more people fighting at the front. But it is too early to tell, and we just have to take it round by round. Just try and bank those solid points as a team, because the team's championship is more important at this phase. So we'll just try and take it round by round, bank the solid points, get a solid upgrade path going forwards, and we'll see how the championship is in the summer. So that's when we'll see.
Thank you very much, Tom. Ryan, do you have anything to add for Tom before we move on?
Really, really good race from you, Tom. Interesting to see you talk about, obviously, quali pace, ridiculously good. How come you were favouring quali pace over like end race pace? Because that's what it kind of sounded like to me. I'm really, really curious to the thought behind that. Did you think you'd be able to keep the guys behind you through the race, even though they had just a little bit more top speed than you? Is that what the original plan was, or?
Well, ultimately, we always did know there was going to be a straight line speed benefit for everyone else compared to us. But in the end, we stuck to our own devices. We put on the wing levels that we thought were quickest and we thought would benefit us throughout the race and quali the most. Yes, in the end, it did help us out in quali more, but we didn't know everyone else's lap times going into the race, so we couldn't really predict how we should have based our wing levels for the race. So we went with what was quickest to us, and it worked out in the end. It was a bit annoying having a straight line speed loss, but it is what it is. There's plenty more races, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit of a shame that Jan was even able to get the moves done before the braking zone as well. But you know, the high downforce will definitely benefit you at some other tracks, and you've clearly done your research into it. So we look forward to seeing the next one.
I mean, at Jeddah, it's particularly the DRS zones and the way they're set up. It's just so easy to hang on to other people and make moves before braking zones anyway. But the extra top speed does help out. But it's just also down to the nature of the track at the end of the day.
Thank you very much, Tom. We appreciate speaking to you, and congratulations on second.
Thank you very much.
Okie dokie. So we're going to move on, of course, and complete the podium with Adam Maguire. Adam, do you hear us?
Yes, hello.
Very good. Now, Adam, the first thing I want to say, apart from congratulations, of course, on third place, is what a step up. I was really worried in Australia because you seem to be, with all due respect, a long way off the pace. And you've come here today and stuck the car on pole. Where's this pace come from?
I just had more time to practice, and to be honest, our setup in Australia was far from perfect, so spent a lot of time with the setup with Tom Ely, and yeah, definitely made an improvement. So yeah, the race was quite easy to manage from pole, but yeah, Jan was too quick, so we let him by.
And of course, you and Tom appear to have pretty much the same kind of pace almost the entire way through. Was that difficult to manage in terms of the, who's going ahead at what time and where you're going?
Well, I think in practice I was supposed to be leading, and I think the first pit stop kind of messed us up a bit, but I think I was kind of dragging Tom around with me, and then once my tires were going off, he would overtake and then go for an overtake or something. But there was no team orders or anything. It was like whoever's quicker just stays in first, and if it's worth it, overtake. If it's not, then don't go for it. But yeah, I'm kind of sad that I didn't give Tom an earlier opportunity for the last lap overtake, because I think he had a bit more pace than me at that stage. But yeah, no. But congrats to Jan anyway. That's brilliant drive. Really happy for him.
Yeah, well, when Jan came through, there was really not much you could have done about him in the end. Did you know that it was a possibility that someone was going to stay out and go for those soft tires at the end, or was that something you considered?
We didn't. Well, we didn't consider ourselves at all. Our wear on them isn't great at all. So, but we had a feeling that Jan would go a bit longer and go for something a bit more bold. So it worked out for him. I don't even think I could overtake him with as much push to pass as possible because my wings were too high. So, but yeah, that was a good race. I'm happy with third. Onwards and upwards.
Absolutely, it should be. Of course, the next round of the championship will be at Suzuka in 2 weeks' time. I seem to remember you've gone well in the past there. Did you win there a couple of years ago?
Honestly, that's something for a statsman or something. I have no idea.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I can't remember. I probably have.
From memory, I think you won 2019 because I think I commentated that, but I might be wrong. But anyway, are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, definitely. It's gonna be. Hopefully, we can fight for the win again.
Very good, very good. Well, thank you very much for speaking to us. I've just looked up the stats, and you didn't even race in that race in 2019, so I'm completely wrong. But anyway,
I didn't want to say anything.
Yes, that's just me being silly. Okay, well, congratulations on a podium anyway, and good luck in your future races.
Cheers, thank you.
Okie dokie. We're going to have to start going through these quite quickly now. I want to get 2 rather quick ones in now, if that's okay. I want to get Chris Butcher in, because Chris, your car's finished on the, or both of your cars finished on the podium today, and it's quite rare that we get a double podium for a team in Super League. So Chris, do you hear us?
I do.
Very good. That's got to feel bittersweet. I mean, after leading for such a long time, was there anything more you guys could have done?
Yeah, really disappointing to not convert a front row lockout to a win. But you know, on the flip side of things, all of us at THR are really happy for Jan because this first win in Super League's been a long time coming, and I think everybody would argue that he's deserved it for a long time. So we're really happy for Jan. But yeah, there was. Do you know what? There wasn't much more in it for us, really. To be honest with you, I think we've made a massive step up from the first round, where we struggled in qualifying last time. We're okay in the race. This time we sort of, we were really strong in qualifying and the race. So a huge step up for us. Clearly still a little bit of work to do in terms of tyre wear, we think. We were amazed that Jan managed to make those softs that last that long. So there's clearly still some work to do there. But yeah, double podium, really strong result for the team. A good points haul in both championships for both the drivers and the team. Yeah, it's looking like an interesting season.
Absolutely, it is. And you guys are looking even stronger than at the start. You've clearly got your setup right for this one. I mean, it was not quite looking that way at Australia with Adam a long way off the pace and Tom having to fight his way through. But this time around, I mean, who do you have to thank for your team's pace here, and where do you think it came from exactly?
It's everybody really. THR is really good in that everybody pulls together and puts the effort in, across the whole group. So it's kind of, I can't take any credit for it because I'm just the team owner and I sort of help engineer the guys during the race. But Toby, Tom, Adam, Tom Ely, they all put a huge amount of work in. It's just a big team effort really. And to be honest with you, for this round, we changed our approach a little bit in terms of how we developed the setup, and it's worked out for us. So hopefully we're on the right track now.
Fantastic. Thank you for speaking to me, Chris. Ryan, I forgot to come to you last time. Sorry about that. But do you have anything to add for our double podium team?
I just love hearing somebody be disappointed with the second and third.
Yeah,
that's how you've got fighting spirit in you, Chris.
Well,
you can't be happy, can you?
I know people say it's the taking part that counts, and it is. We're all here to have fun, but we're a competitive team and we want to win. And it is disappointing to be technically the fastest cars on the grid and not win the race. So, but yeah, Jan did a fantastic job. Can't take that away from him. Yeah, look, not really disappointed with the result, but just disappointed that we didn't have one of our cars in P1.
Well,
that's very understandable.
just as good for teams championship wise. Definitely better than SV in this scenario. But
yeah, but you know what?
onwards
I've
to-
not done the maths on it, but I think between SV, us, and top, I think it's going to be very close. So I think we're going to have a really, really interesting season.
Certainly will.
Indeed. Thank you very much for talking to us, Chris, and congrats on your team's double podium.
Thanks very much.
That's okay. All right, now I very rarely do 5 interviews, and I want to do this very quickly so that we're not keeping you up all night.
You're late to bed tonight.
But I've got to talk to Alex Lahou. Alex, are you there?
Oh, hi. I was about to leave actually the voice chat. You just picked me at the right time.
That's okay. Well, we don't normally do this many interviews. I really wanted to speak to you because not only was that your first GPWC Super League finish, but you finished in the top 5. You came 4th. I mean, where did that come from?
Pretty much the super light space, I would say. Like, the guys in the Super League team, in HRT, they just booked the setup and I used it. And I had limited time running because Wednesday, 9 to 5, and then race him on Wednesday to practice, trying to get on with the car in quali and race. It's a completely different philosophy as the Superlights car because you can just smash the throttle with Superlights car. It's just not enough power, I guess.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know there was so much of a difference. Are you planning to continue your title challenge in Super Light, or are you planning to focus on Super League?
I think I'm gonna focus on Superlights because I'm on a very good launch, like the best launch ever of a season I've ever done. And I want to complete the season with the guys, and at least it's a good step forward looking on to Super League for next year.
That's understandable, and there's no one to stop you doing an odd Super League outing when you're needed. But yeah, I just wanted to speak to you and say congrats on such a strong performance, because I tell you what, with the top 3 we had today, 4th is like a win in itself,
Nah, that's an L in my book. I didn't get any podium. Actually, I was happy for Jan. Very happy for Jan, actually. He deserved it fully. I was actually telling my engineer during the final stint to keep me updated on the FAD because as soon as the softs dropped off, I knew I couldn't catch up. Just bring it home and get a nice little P4 without crashing the car, and that was it. And then Jan won, I think, on the line or something after making a mistake on lap 47.
0.3 of a second.
Yeah, it's so close actually, so close. He fully deserved it. It was a great battle from lights out.
Amazing. Well, thank you very much for talking to us, Alex. I'm afraid we're going to have to wrap it up because we've gone on for way too long. But
Yeah, it's getting
great
late.
drive from you.
Thank you, Caitlin, and have a good evening.
Okie dokie. So that was the lot as far as this particular broadcast is concerned. Thank you all for sticking around and for listening to those 5 interviews. That's not something we do very often. But there were a lot of excited and very happy people after this race, and for good reason. Ryan, what a day we've had. And I tell you what, I mean, I say this every time, but from what we've seen from GPWC Super League recently, I wouldn't be caught dead missing Suzuka. Like, you could kill me right now. I'd come back as a ghost. I'd watch it anyway.
Suzuka's always great, and the good thing about Suzuka is there's potential for rain. We've had a little bit of rain in the last few years, so that always adds a spanner into the works. So yeah, very
Gotta prepare for more hailstones at my window then. Very good. Okay, so if you do want to watch the Super League, the Suzuka Super League race, which of course you do, make sure that you're here at the same time in 2 weeks' time, but also keep your eyes open in the meantime for all of the junior categories, including Academy, Formula Sprint 2, Formula Sprint 1, and Super Lights. Thank you all very much for being here. Thank you as well to Ryan Elliott for keeping me company in the commentary box. Thank you to Vincent Gutt for providing the cameras, replays, the stream, just everything technical. That all came from Vincent Gutt. And of course, thank you to the drivers for putting on such an incredible display. See you guys in 2 weeks' time.